Hello and welcome back to I Did This Instead of Killing Myself, stand-up comedy and lifestyle podcast. I host out of my apartment in Greenville, South Carolina, where we have local comedians and other guests, and we just have a good time. We talk about dumpster fires, advice, stand-up comedy, and everything else. So it's the week of December 6th, 2021. I feel a little off. I accidentally shaved with like one of those clippers from the barber, the bottom part of my facial hair, like a little bit too much I took off. And so then I shaved the rest off. So now I have a mustache. If you're watching on YouTube, you could see. I think I don't know how long I want to keep it. People yesterday I think thought I looked creepy, so whatever. I kind of like having a mustache. I wasn't able to grow one for most of my life, but anyway, I'm excited for this week. I'm recording this on a Saturday. By the time this goes up, I'll actually be in New York City. I'm not doing anything for my personally. I'm going up there to watch some comedy. I'm really excited. I'm going to be watching Joe List record his new special. He's doing a taping at the Comedy Cellar, and I'm just flying up there and checking out New York City comedy. So that should be fun. But yeah, so I won't be here for the first part of this week, but we still do have a great week of comedy. And we have a great guest today. My guest today is Alex Turner. Alex is the man. He's a good friend of another good friend of mine, Matt Addy. He's an Atlanta-based comic and just a really funny, quirky guy. He's come up to the Comedy Zone here in Greenville several times, and he and Matt Addy always bring the jokes, and he's been doing stand-up comedy for 8 months. He just got booked on his first show, and he is just a comedy nut like me. And he's a really likable guy, really quirky guy, and just obsessed with stand-up. We had a good interview. We talked about comedy in Atlanta. We talked about how how most comedians have trauma, but like we don't. He doesn't have any trauma. And we kind of feel weird about that. We kind of just have a case of being bummed out sometimes. But so I guess we're privileged comics, and Alex is too. Talked about how he is in love with Queen Momo. Yeah, that's right. Monica, Alex Turner, and Queen Momo, match made in heaven. I think you guys should talk. And we talked about how Alex's first time getting stoned on mushrooms at a Fish concert in Miami. Really enjoyed the interview. There's a lot more to it as well. And I hope you enjoy that. Before that, though, here's what's going on this week in local comedy, the week of December 6th, 2021. First of all, we have the open mics starting tonight at Coffee Underground, hosted by Craig Holcomb, No Expectations Comedy, Travis Thubbin, starting at 7 o'clock. List gets started at about 6:30. After that, we have Abiba's Mediterranean Restaurant, all jokes aside, hosted by Dante Anderson at 8:30. So drive across town, get to Habiba's. On Tuesday, we have a new mic that is happening at Buchanan's Bar and Grill on Wade Hampton Boulevard at 8:30 p.m. I believe Dante's hosting this one as well. And we went last week for the first time, and it was a fun little group. So come on out. We got another Tuesday mic. On Wednesday, Radio Room is back, hosted by Adam Schulte at 8 o'clock. Get there a little early to sign up. On Thursday, we have the Comedy Zone Jokes Out Loud I Got 10 Showcase Show. So we have a few of us that are going to be performing extended time this week. So really looking forward to that. I'm going to be performing. Kayla's also going to be there. Kayla Bloodworth, Robin Scott, Jonathan Brown, Miss Micah from Charlotte, Ken Wood, Big Daddy Cater, and Jake Staley, all performing at the Showcase Show on Thursday. So come on out. here a little bit of extended time. Excited for that. And then this weekend, we have a very special celebrity comedian that's going to be in town December 10th through the 12th. Chris Tucker. Don't ever touch a black man's radio. Isn't that for Rush Hour? I don't know. I think that's what it's from. I'm excited. I'm going Friday to check out Chris Tucker. Very excited to see his stand-up. He's got 2 shows, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, all at 6:30 and 9 o'clock. Tickets available at greenvillecomedyzone.com, but I believe it's already close to sold out, if not sold out already. Check it out if you can find tickets. Yeah, that's it for local comedy. I hope you guys have a fantastic week, and I hope you enjoy my interview with Alex. Here it is. So, Alex.
Yes.
Do you have a crush on Queen Momo?
Queen Momo?
Monica, a.k.a. the hostess of the Comedy Zone.
Hey, keep your voice down. We're gonna have to keep this behind closed doors. Right?
Yeah. Well.
No. Yeah. Sometimes. I looked at her and I did a little sparkle in my eye. You know what I'm saying? Just a teensy bit.
Yeah. I think that may have started.
Yeah. With it was a me and Matt thing.
Yeah. You and Matt Addy, the Atlanta boys.
Yep. Atlanta's.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a work in progress. We're trying to keep it on the DL.
Right. Because you are single.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Eligible.
She can't know that, but yeah, I'm single. I'm single.
Well, she's she was on an earlier episode. I don't know if she'll actually watch this one, but
yeah.
But no, that's great. That's great. So Alex Turner.
Mm-hmm.
Are you related to Turner Broadcast Company?
I'm not.
You're not.
If I was, I would not be doing comedy.
I think you should write it.
I'd be a lot better off.
Yeah, because the Turner family's in Atlanta, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of there used to be Turner Field. Turner Broadcasting. Turner's. I like the last name for sure. Alex is a dumb fucking name. Though.
Alex is?
Yeah, I hate Alex.
Why? What do you think?
It's a dumb name.
You think it's just like?
My dad's got a cool name, Chris. That's pretty to the point.
Chris?
Even though Alex is short for Alexander, Chris is short for Christopher. Both those are dumb names.
You think so?
Dumb, long, ancient names.
Have you written any jokes living in Atlanta about having Turner as a last name but getting no benefits?
It's a good topic.
I kind of like it as an idea.
Yeah. Definitely need to scratch the surface of that for sure.
Yeah. So, dude, I'm pumped to have you on the show. I met you through Matt Addy, and you guys. It's always good to see you guys come through Comedy Zone. And I can't remember when that was. I feel like it was earlier this year. We met at Bill's apartment when we were punching up jokes.
Yeah.
And you had just started stand-up then. So, like, how long has it been since you've started?
I'm 8 months in now.
8 months in?
I was fairly new then. It was probably 3 or 4 months. But though the concept of workshopping jokes was, like, foreign to me. Like, because in Atlanta, it's, like, more of a grind, I guess. And people don't give themselves time to do that. It's just kind of work, go to open mics, work, and then it was nice to have a change of pace, come here and realize, oh, people do this is what I would prefer.
Yeah. To
like workshop. And they're starting now actually to try and emphasize that a little more in Atlanta.
Why? Did you start that?
No. I don't start trends well. I'm not the guy. Whenever anything cool starts, no one points to Alex.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, come on.
No, yeah. Maybe one day.
Well, that's cool though. So in Atlanta, they there are like tons of mics there. Obviously, like I see the schedule there. Like you can hit like 20 in a week, can't you? Like aren't there?
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. You can hit a lot of mics, and then the trade-off, I guess, before was that you hit all these mics, but you don't really feel like you have a person to bounce jokes off of.
Okay.
A lot. Which is changing. It's changing.
I got
pretty rapidly, but that's what it felt like at first, and it was nice to come here and see that was a thing.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So basically, if you're hitting all these mics, you're never coming up for air to take a break to like actually write and work on your material between mics.
Yeah, yeah. It definitely it feels like that, but also I do like the lonesome joke writing because some of the best material can come from that.
Absolutely.
But I do think that there needs to be a balance between that and running jokes with a friend or something.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah.
Absolutely. So, are you from Atlanta originally?
Yeah, Atlanta is ominous. It's like Atlanta stretches. No one really knows what's in and what's not Atlanta.
Right. There's like tons of cities that
you can consider a lot.
You could
but
count Atlanta.
Technically, I'm north. I was raised like in Buford, which is actually real far off. It's like the Mall of Georgia area.
Yep.
Maybe 40 minutes north without that hellsome traffic.
Uh-huh.
But now I'm closer. I'm in Norcross. So
Okay.
now that I'm out and about and independent and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. I lived in Atlanta for like 4 years before I moved here, and I kick myself now for not starting comedy when I was living there.
Yeah.
Because there's such a wealth of mics and I think like a network of things to do. But so 8 months in, so like what made you like get on stage the first time?
So I feel like it was a lot of things. Like I could sit and diagnose this for a while, but it's I guess I could trace it back to like going on cruises and seeing the comedians, and just thinking, and having conversations with them, like real conversations, like being the fanboy that waits till after they're done and talking to them.
Yeah.
Seeing how they got into the cruise.
Were there any
comedy.
famous comics you saw on those cruises?
No. If they're working on a cruise, they're not doing well.
Well, I saw Nick Schwartzen with like he had done some cruise gigs before, and David Spade always gave him crap for it.
Yeah, you actually it's a good thing to give people crap for, because the trade-off is you are making good. If you start here and then you end up on cruises, you're doing well.
Yeah,
but you're gonna get tired of that lifestyle really quickly because they don't give you luxurious living whatsoever. You're like living with the maids.
Yeah.
They're like at sea level. I mean, a lot of the comedians' jokes are just about how they can hear the shark next door. Like, like making, it's just, it's not, it starts fun and then probably gets tired.
I wonder if crowd members on cruises are just shitty audiences, because like on a cruise, I've never been on a cruise.
Yeah.
But like my impression is like, well, we're on a cruise. Everything's all inclusive. We're just, crushing buffets shamelessly. Like we can treat anything like it's at our disposal, including the entertainment. So I'm just envisioning American cruise guests just, maybe not paying attention, maybe not appreciate. It's not like they picked out a show, came to see it, left there like they would on,
Well, it's kind of like that, just because there's so much to do on a cruise that it what is it called? It narrows down you're gonna have a dedicated, good, like comedy loving audience that comes to because that's the same time there's like bingo going on, there's like karaoke, there's like a onboard show, there's like all this other stuff. So if you're making your way over to the comedy club, then you're probably a dedicated sad boy comedy fan. You know what I'm saying?
So I'm exactly wrong. Dang. Yeah.
Yeah, you're dead wrong. You should have never said it.
I guess I was way off. Jeez. I should go on a cruise. Yeah. Okay, so you were on these cruise ships talking to these comics, just asking them. So what did you ask them? Did you ask them like
how did you get into it? Like stuff they probably had heard a lot and regurgitated a lot and probably didn't want to quite be talking to me about. And at that point I was like a film person. So I was
How old were you?
This is probably my early 20s, like 2021, when I started asking questions.
Okay.
And then
so you were like
till 24 probably, because we try and go on cruises pretty religiously, like whether it be a family thing or whatever. Cruises are generally looked down upon, no matter if you're the passenger, you're the comedian on it. People, because it's a tease for living lavishly, I guess. There's nothing lavish about it. It's cheap now. It's really cheap to go on a cruise.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, it's probably my preferred vacation. It's just a nice kickback for 7 days or so, and then
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it started there, and then probably the day I decided was in I was visiting my brother in Auburn. He goes to medical school over in Auburn.
Okay.
And I was looking for something fun to do, and it's Auburn, so there's nothing fun. And so I was like, maybe there's comedy. Maybe there's like a club.
There's nothing fun in Auburn. I've
Yeah,
never been.
they have this place called the Crown Comedy Club, and that night they were doing a PTSD like veteran awareness show.
Okay.
And the performers were veterans, like people and also that had PTSD from war. And I remember watching them, and not in like a disparaging way. I remember thinking to myself, I could do this.
Right.
Like they were. I was actually surprised. Like they were very talented, and they could probably go far. Doing what they do. But I remember seeing that and going, I don't have PTSD. I've never been to war, but goddamn, I have some depression and anxiety and all this stuff wrong with me. And if they can suck it up and do it, then I can do it. So that's where I decided, I think, mentally to do it. And then a week later, I went to roll.
It only took you a week between seeing that show in Auburn.
What was weird, though, is when I was leaving, it wasn't necessarily like I was even saying to myself, I'm going to go do this. I think subconsciously it just happened there. And then next week, I found myself researching more and more. Where do I find? And then I remember going to Social Fox Brewing, which is in Norcross, and there was a show with some local comedians, and one of them was nice enough to tell me where to go to start. And at that point, I was solidified, and I'm doing this.
Okay.
So that was roll call, and I started there.
Roll call was your first one? Okay. Very cool, man. It's kind of like the universe conspired for that to happen once you...
Yeah. I'd like to think of it that way.
Do you believe in fate? Do you believe Yeah.
I think time will tell with this. I mean, if it goes nowhere, then I'll be kicking myself. But honestly, right, even if it goes nowhere, as corny as it sounds, these last 8 months have given me so much more purpose in life. I feel like so much like before I was like, if I die, like people are just gonna say, yeah, he was nice. he was. What do you remember about Alex? Oh, he was decent.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Pretty unremarkable, but
Yeah, but like. Selfishly, I want to go down as more than that. I want to be something else.
Yeah.
And if for whatever reason you could tell 100 people, I'm into film, I act, I do all this, no one cares. You start telling people you're a comedian, and it's this whole different thing for some reason.
Yeah. What's the typical reaction you get?
If it's like your average run of the mill, like just Georgia person, it's just they're in awe. I mean, they're just like, how do you get on stage? How do you do that? And at first it was nice. Now I'm getting kind of tired of it. Now I get why people are like, don't tell people you're a comedian, because it opens up this whole can of worms that. And then there's the going joke of like people want to, really tell me a joke, all that.
Oh, right on the spot.
Hannibal has the best response to that.
What is Hannibal's?
I think he was in one of his specials. He said, anytime someone asks him, and I actually use this too. I hope Hannibal doesn't mind. Sorry, Hannibal. If you ever watched I Thought About Killing Myself. The podcast.
Yeah.
No, he has the best response, which is you want to hear a joke. What do you call a girl with two black eyes? Nothing. You've already told her twice. Nice domestic dispute joke.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that'll sour the conversation and end it pretty quickly, which is nice.
Yeah. Go misogynist wife beater.
Yeah, I was using that at the beach a lot. When you go on vacation, that conversation can come up a lot because you meet people and the main thing they want to know, what do you do?
On the where?
On beaches, whatever vacation you're on,
Dude, you take cruise vacation beaches all the time? Like, what do you?
Yeah. Well, it's just like not often enough. Honestly, I should go on more vacations.
No, for sure, dude.
But yeah, I definitely prefer a nice cruise, but yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you said you have a lot more purpose. How old are you?
26.
26.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm asking all these questions if I never met you. We only talk about comedy, so like,
Yeah.
I'm getting to know you as we talk. But
No, yeah, it's actually like real right now.
yeah, this is real. This
This
is
is
so real. That's why
Yeah.
there's. Yeah. What is your day job?
I do like medical sales stuff. I just deliver like medical
That's
equipment.
right. We
Yeah.
did talk about that. Okay. Yeah. So we're
Yeah.
in the similar type of job, but that wasn't something that you felt like gave you a lot of purpose before.
No.
Not in and of itself, anyway.
No, because my whole life if it comes to jobs, I've just been I've gone the delivery route. When I used to smoke a lot of weed, I was the stereotypical stoner pizza boy.
Dude, you look like you
Yeah,
could be that.
I used to have. I know that it's not showing, but I used to have hair like down to like here,
Yeah.
and then it was going way quicker than it was growing.
Yeah.
So I was like, this needs to go. But yeah, I used to look like the whole profile of Pizza Boy.
Yeah.
All the way. I would ponytail my hair sometimes. It was ridiculous.
Dude, I would love to see you with long hair, bro.
Yeah, maybe one day. Maybe if this Rogaine kicks in.
Yeah, dude. Are you on a Rogaine regimen?
I'm trying. Yeah, I'm doing the regular like finasteride or Propecia, I guess people call it. I'm doing that every morning. But
Yeah. I do it too.
yeah.
I'm recent.
That's what I should have done. There's so many comedians I know, even the Atlanta scene, they're just doing it as like a precaution thing. And
Yeah.
I'm like, man, if I would have known like how little side effects all this shit has,
Yeah.
I would have just done it as a precaution when I
Yeah.
was growing up.
Well, now they have these those companies like Hims or there's a couple other
Yeah, that's where I get mine from.
that do the
Keeps and
the
Hims.
Rogaine Keeps and Hims. Yeah. Well, I was my biggest insecurity when I was in high school was going bald because my grandfather on my mom's side is bald, and they say genetically that's where it comes from. And then I had a friend of mine say I had a big forehead and a receding hairline. Dan Angeli.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey,
Dan, why don't you cool it out, man? Dave's over here. You fucking ruined his whole life.
yeah, dude. I'm doing Kill Myself podcast shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually love Dan. I thought he was going to go bald. Like his hair was kind of looked thin, but neither of us have gone that way, thankfully. So, but I literally begged my dad when I was a senior in high school to get one of these laser combs.
Yeah.
Have you seen those?
I don't think so, actually.
Yeah, well, that was like the third FDA approved solution to hair loss.
Really?
So actually, I don't know how interesting this is for anybody, but if anybody's thinking about going bald, I've already done all the research or worried about going bald. There's only 3 things you could do. There's Propecia,
Yeah.
Rogaine, and the laser stuff. It used to be at salons where you'd get it, but so I was like, well, at the time I just needed peace of mind.
Yeah.
It was like $500. And I begged my dad to help me buy it, and he did. Like we went halvesies on it, and I carried that thing through college. I hid it from everybody in the dorm. I didn't want anybody to know. And yeah, so now I upgraded. Now I have a hat, and I actually pulled that out last podcast episode. But it's the laser hat.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, dude, I'm obsessed. But
Yeah, I should have been.
no, dude, you look. Who cares? I'm a pussy.
I honestly,
I should just go bald.
if I got my hair back, I would lose so much material. I wouldn't
Yeah.
have like a lot of my, not all my act. I don't want to say it. It's dependent on that, but it's good to have some deficiency when you're
Yeah.
a comedian to
Yeah.
pick on.
Yeah.
Because I think I'm self-deprecating by nature. So
Mhm.
if I don't have anything, if everything's going right for me, I'm in a corner with that.
No, you're
But,
super likable on stage too. It works great. Yeah, I really love how your joke writing has come along. Like since from the first time I saw you to like seeing, it's fun to see you and Matt because like sometimes there's like a month or so between seeing you guys on stage.
Yeah.
So like I'm always excited to see new material and stuff, and yeah, the St. Jude's bit, all the I don't want to spoil any of it, but yeah, man. So how many mics are you hitting a week now? I
really can't. I need to be consistent about it, but it's really just varies. Some weeks I'll do like I'll try and make it a mission to like go out like 5 nights a week.
Okay.
And then sometimes
And 5 nights a week with maybe more than one.
that's the potential there is crazy because sometimes you can hit way more than the amount of days that is, you know, because there's Tuesdays, for instance, you could do 4 in a night.
Wow.
So I've done 3 on a Tuesday before, and so that would equivalent to 8 if I had just done the Tuesday and then 5 like I normally would. But lately I've been not as good about getting out, so I think I'm 3 or 4 nights.
Okay.
I've noticed it varies. If I have a lot of new material I want to work out, then I go
a lot more.
It sounds simple, but I go out a lot more, but only for the reason of that I did it in my head that the local comedians in the scene don't want to keep seeing me regurgitate the stuff that's working.
Yeah.
And I also don't want to hear myself say it for a non-crowd, like over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So if I'm not writing enough or producing enough, which has probably been of late, I go find myself at a lot more club settings because those have a lot of audience.
Yeah.
And I guess that at the end of the day, those are the ones you want to impress.
Yeah, exactly. I feel less guilty about doing old material in front of a club audience because even if the comics in the back have heard it, you know, it doesn't matter. In fact, I've been burned by that sometimes, like trying too new of stuff in front of a club audience and then it doesn't work. I'm like, oh, well, was it really worth it to feel like it was novel in my own head to not have the joke work?
Yeah. You know what I actually do? I'm not doing weed right now, but where I do kind of miss it is when I was first starting and I was having these outrageous bombs in front of comics.
Yeah.
At like bars with new material. I was like, this will be funny, right? And then it wasn't. And I would go home and they tell you have to do this, and it became easier for me to do. But like listen to those recordings, you know, of you not doing well, and I would hear myself, and I'd be high in my room listening to myself, and I would like be dying laughing. I'd be like, "Who is this psychopath?"
So
I can't believe this guy.
You'd smoke a little weed,
and it would help me like handle the bomb. It was weird. I'd be like.
Good to feel like you could step out of it and assess it. Like, this is funny.
Yeah, and I'm almost looking at it like it's a completely different guy.
Yeah.
Like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Like this version of me that that thought this would be good.
Yeah, maybe helps you not hold it so tight so you're like, oh, it's the end of the world. You're like, no.
Yeah. I say that like it's normal, but when I tell Matt that or like other people that, you know, it's not everyone's cup of tea to do that.
To record their sets and listen to them?
Not that everyone does that, but it's not everyone's cup of tea to, well, I guess not listen to it. Some people don't listen to it, but it's not everyone's cup of tea to have that part of them that's able to laugh at the bad.
Yeah.
Because that's not normal, and that's a thing that I've grown to appreciate, I guess, about myself is that I'm able... It needs to be very bad, though. If it's like when there's those bombs that's kind of floating between good and bad, those are the ones that I have the hardest time handling. Yeah. Because I'm trying to find where did I go wrong? What do I need to keep? When it's just something where I could be like, oh, I could lose all of this, it's way more hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's funny too.
Yeah.
I record all my sets like everybody, and I recently made the mistake of, you know how if you go on your iPhone and like you can somehow look at it based on years or something? I accidentally looked like a year ago. And oh God, that was hard to watch. It was
I'd say I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't listen to my first couple sets. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah. I mean, I got through like a minute or two of it, and then I was able to just laugh at myself and that's a healthy thing, I think. I think you're on the right track for sure. Because, like, I don't know. I mean, you're out on a limb here. If you hate yourself too much, you'll just burn yourself out and quit or something. So you kind of have to be nice to yourself in a way. Just feel like, okay, you freaking idiot, whatever. Yeah. And then, you know, if you have a good set, don't think, oh, you're great. Think, okay, cool. You know, it's whatever.
Exactly.
Like if you don't plan on stopping, like you're at a blip of that's very early, and you're not going to remember any of the specific awkwardness, or you're probably not even going to remember, the great set that much, So it's just plugging along, I guess.
Yeah. It's a wild business. What we do is
Yeah.
it's not normal.
It's weird as fuck.
It's weird behavior. It's attention-seeking behavior.
Yes.
And what I actually meant to talk about, what's weird about it is there's this stereotype that you get into it because you didn't get enough attention growing up, or there's something in the family is amiss.
Yeah.
All this kind of stuff. And I think it's hilarious that I got into comedy and I have like the best family in the world.
Yes.
Like I love my parents to death. I don't have a shoddy dad who drinks himself every night. Like I don't have any like weird things going on in the family. It's weird that
you were loved.
I'm like an anomaly.
You weren't neglected.
Yeah.
You weren't molested.
No, yeah. I want to get to the point where this could be a bit, but eventually, you got to look back and just, because that's good material.
Yeah.
It's just like it's not talked about enough because a lot of comedians have deep rooting issues and trauma.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I don't have that. I'm just saying in my family, I don't have it, and I think the most I have is just maybe a case of the blues.
Yeah.
But never anything too crazy. Yeah. I mean, I guess I was vaguely picked on in school, but that became material. So
yeah, that is funny, dude. I feel the same way. My family is like irritatingly perfect in terms of like.
And my parents will ask me like, "You need to write jokes about us," and I'm like, "Well, you need to do something bad. You need to be a bad person, for this to work.
Yeah,
like go do a line or something. See where the night takes you, and give me some material."
Yeah, the only dysfunction in my family was kind of, I think, trying to maintain the facade of perfection to the point where we never talked about faults of anyone or like, very Christian. So like my parents, I know a little bit more about my dad's past now, but like as far as I knew, they were perfect church mice their entire lives.
Yeah.
Never had any, never drank, never did anything, unchristian ever. So I was like, well, I have to live this way. So then when you go out into the world and you face the reality of like, alcohol, drugs, girls, all that stuff, it was like, well, do I cling to this image of the family, or do I like,
They're better about it now. Like I say better about it, but they're like loosening up, like going out and drinking, all that kind of stuff. But it's almost like this perfect model of like, we're going to wait till all our kids are old enough to make all those decisions for themselves. And then we're just going to go, not nuts, but for them, it's nuts.
Sure. And then be more open about keeping it real with how life really is.
Yeah. I've always thought they were like fun. And there's always everyone has that phase where like anti-parents, but I think now more than ever, I'm like, these are cool people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas back in the day, I was like, they're cool, but they have faults. And they still have those, I guess, faults, but they're cooler. I don't know. I've just never seen them this cool.
No, 100%. And my parents have too. The image I'm describing is kind of more growing up.
Yeah.
But, we've had...
This should just be called the Entitled Podcast.
The Entitled Podcast?
We're sitting here talking about how great our lives are. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
We
yeah, a pretty great life, silver spoon, and it's been smooth sailing.
Let me fish for some bad. I do think it's fun because the one time I remember mom taking pills was because she needed them. She was prescribed them for like the dentist's procedure or whatever.
Dude, that's a funny joke.
And I'm in school. Yeah, I'm in school, and like we were on that weird regimen of like, you want to text your parents' grades every once in a while, keep them in check and all that kind of stuff. I remember it was one of those days. I was just keeping them in check. I didn't know my mom was on pills this day, but I just texted her the normal, I've got this and this class, whatever. And she texts back like, okay, ducks are out. Don't hit them. And I'm like, what ducks? It just threw me like off completely.
It was just like
And
a
then
totally non sequitur.
It never got
comment.
explained. I remember I asked her about it later, and she was like, I don't remember sending you that. And I was like, this version of you is fun.
Yeah.
Well, let's get more of this.
You're like,
going.
yeah, can you get drunk more often,
Yeah.
Mom? Can you take more pills?
I want more of this, Mom. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, she's great. I'm glad she doesn't go down that rabbit hole, I guess. But it would have made for some fun bits, probably.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah, my parents have loosened up some too with, you know, I mean, just life happens. You get older, and she does work with like teen moms in this high school. So when you see that, like, you know, girls in high school that get pregnant and have kids, like, you see a lot of traumatic backstories and like all this stuff. Like, so, you know, but we still have, and I'm still dying at this observation you had of my plate. You saw that the Bible verse on the, and you said just like you have a touch of Christianity.
Yeah, everyone needs a touch of Christianity in their house. You know what I'm saying? Just a touch. Just keep it, just a touch.
They cracks me up so much.
Even the most evil people I know have like just a Bible laying around sometimes. It's crazy.
Just to like cover your bases or like.
But yeah, it's just, you know, you got to have that little touch of it, you know, of God.
Yeah, and I still am a Christian, but it's so funny that like that observation, because like there's a lot of other stuff going on here too. Your podcast.
It's crazy. My eyes were drawn to that.
Yeah.
That plaque.
Yeah, absolutely.
It didn't even look like a plaque. It looks like you printed it on a computer and then just threw it on.
I did not print that myself. That was actually this thing our Grace Church here in town does.
Nice.
They do it was like a section on Proverbs, and they had like all these things. So there's like a bunch of those papers behind it, and you can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just switch them out every once in a while.
There was a holder for it, but I put the Brett Favre card in the holder for the Bible
That'd be
verses.
too much. It wouldn't be a touch anymore.
Right.
You need just the touch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Brett Favre in the Bible verse holder. Brett Favre's basically Jesus. Not really. I love Brett Favre though. But yeah, man.
Comedy is. I think I see what people say now. Like comedy is religion.
Dude.
It does kind of feel that way.
Yeah. Do you ever worry that you get too obsessed with it?
No. If anything, I'm not obsessed enough. Because if I was, I'd be doing more mics.
Okay.
But I like my writing style. It's just frustrating because the way I write the best. I'm not saying I write like this all the time, but the way I write the best is, when material just kind of spontaneously comes to me and I'm not looking for it.
Sure. I agree completely.
Because whenever I force myself to do, that's when I get really, that's the closest I've got to like burned out, I guess. It's like, how can I make a living off of forcing myself to do this all the time?
Yeah.
And I think that once you get to where you're peak level, it's that healthy balance of forcing and then spontaneous, like genius ideas.
Yeah. I feel like it's almost like you need the spontaneous inspiration for like the premise. And then once you have that, you need to sit your ass down and actually write it and work on like how to make it work. But just starting from nothing, I agree, dude. I've tried to start from nothing sometimes, and I'm just like, this is absolute dog shit. This is so terrible. And then like those, it just feels over-engineered, and like it doesn't even come out naturally when I say it, and it's all whatever.
Yeah.
But if it's just an idea that came to me, like when I'm driving or something, like how did you come up with that oxygen tank idea, the oxygen factory?
I went to go see Bert Kreischer. Live,
and you heard him do the joke.
No, I met up. That's funny.
And he told the exact joke, and I just said it.
I met up with some people who I wasn't familiar with before the show. They were like just friends of a friend, and the guy had a can on his counter, and I remember making a comment like, "Is that like, do you just have whippets out on your counter?" And he was like, "No, that's actually even more sad. It's canned oxygen." And he was like, "Don't make fun of me," or something. And I was thinking, I was like, I'm not gonna make fun of you, but just the concept of canned oxygen, is just So I ran
And it was
home.
a real thing that you could buy?
Yeah, I just remember writing it in my phone, like just the word canned oxygen, and I was like, there is going to be a lot where that came from.
Yeah.
And then just I came back to it 2 days later, and I've got something for it right now, but I think even where it's at, there could be more and more, because it's just such a who buys this stuff?
Yeah.
Like it's just it's doing well enough where they can sell it for what they do. Like $100 for a 6-pack is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I've only ever heard of oxygen in any container in the context of like scuba diving or maybe astronauts, I guess. But canned oxygen over the counter to civilians.
Yeah.
Can I interest you in some air?
Yeah. It's actually, I think it was started, I mean, everything's made in China, but like the concept was started in China of like they are selling. I'm not sure if they're just like these stupid Americans. They will never know. Right. But they market it as like, we'll give you energy, like surge of energy. Like it's almost like they're just like tricking these people into thinking like this is top notch air. Like what you got out, that's petty stuff.
Well,
we got the real air.
Well, have you ever seen the movie Flight? Denzel Washington, where he's an alcoholic pilot.
Yeah.
Well, they can pump oxygen into those masks.
Yeah.
And I think it does give you a high.
I'm not saying I don't buy it. I'm just saying I don't want $100 buy it.
Right. No, totally. And as a joke premise, it completely works because you're naturally, like, the simple thought is like,
it's
oxygen is like the most plentiful.
It's probably a little bit like those smelling salts that Rogan just had on his podcast.
Did he's selling smellings?
Him and Theo were just going nuts on the salts.
Dude, I kind of want smelling salt.
Yeah.
Are those?
It was weird because I heard about them like 2 weeks ago, and then Rogan had them on like 2 weeks later. So I was like, this is weird how that aligned. Yeah. Because I had just heard about how athletes were like using it, like any kind of athlete was using it just to gives them like it makes your like neurons fire, like your brain, and it just gives you this like high, short-lasted high.
Hell yeah!
It makes you feel like an athlete, I guess. I don't know,
dude. I know exactly what they're talking about because Brett Favre, would do it on the sideline, and I can totally relate to this. Like playing, when I played football, it was it was D2, so not crazy intense, but we still. You're wearing a lot of heavy equipment, and after you do your warm up in the beginning of the game, you can just get exhausted, and you're just like, you just need like a pick me up before the game. And I never did smelling salts, but I know that could give you a little bit of like okay, I'm alert, I'm here. What I used to do was I go to the gas station, and I couldn't. As a college, I couldn't afford the 5-hour energy, so I'd get these knockoffs called Tweaker, and they were twice as big, and they were just these energy shots, and I'd take those right before kickoff to get myself like up for the game, because you want to be explosive, like coming off the ball, and you just want to be alert and stuff. And I can totally relate to that. Like, you feel lethargic.
You can usually tell, I guess, what kind of kid you're going to be like growing up sometimes with that kind of stuff. Because before I ever would have even thought about doing like drugs or trying them out, I was buying like they used to sell this energy drink at the Mall of Georgia. It was just straight called cocaine, and I drink it all day. And I was like, it cracked me up. It cracked my friends up. We're like little.
I'm sure it would.
Mischievous, people, but
what kid's not going to want to drink a drink called cocaine?
Thank God I never really got into. I mean, everyone's dabbled, as far as I know. That's a comedian, but thank God I never really got into. I guess my cup of tea was more the psychedelics, but it's funny how looking back, it was obvious that something was a brewing. Yeah, as far as an addiction or something like that.
Yeah, I kind of wonder where the addictive personality comes from. I feel like it's not always a bad source of like what produces that. Yeah, because like if you're wanting to try a bunch of stuff, you're probably open to the world and doing a lot of stuff. Yeah. So you want to do stuff. You're not like closed off and afraid. Or you could just be really unhappy and wanting an escape. That's bad motivation.
That was probably me.
That was probably you.
Yeah.
Yeah, unhappy
Yeah.
and wanting
Maybe
to,
not even
wanting
really
to say F
unhappy.
it.
Just like selfishly, like I'm unhappy enough to just like excuse this as like I need self medicate.
Sure.
But I'm fine now. I just like my like appreciation for life, not even just like with comedy, but with age has gotten better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like don't feel like I need anything anymore.
Yeah,
Like,
dude. Me too.
I can have an occasional drink of alcohol and use it not as a crutch for comedy, but as like just a nice like social thing for
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
I used to use it as a crutch for comedy, but now I don't, and I perform sober, and it's great. And weed, I'm on and off of that, and I'm actually proud of that because I used to just be a religious
Little
like
stoner
smoker. Yeah.
pizza guy.
Yeah. Now I like get a high from quitting it because I'm so like proud of myself, I guess, that I can do it
Yeah.
so often.
Yeah, it's nice. You can like turn the switch on and off.
Yeah,
sort of
yeah,
deal.
yeah. So I don't know what they would call that kind of, because I do think the addictive personality is in here somewhere, but I think I even have family members like brothers but like that are still on nicotine,
Mm-hmm.
but they look at me like, how are you able to turn that switch off just like
Right.
that? I remember it was as easy as me just throwing my jewel across my room
Mm-hmm.
and it landing on a vent and then just falling through the crack. And I was
And you're like, well, I
there
can't get
goes-
another one. When did you quit that? Were you doing comedy when you quit that? Or was that before?
That was well before.
Okay.
Yes. I quit cigarettes and then went to the Juul.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Juul was way harder to quit than
Yeah,
cigarettes.
dude.
Yeah.
Really?
Way harder.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was severely addicted to juuling in 2019 for like a month and a half.
Yeah.
I remember I was working out pretty hard at the time, and I didn't change anything about my workout habits, but I was juuling, and I remembered like it was probably my imagination, but it felt like I could feel my lungs with the Juul juice on them, and
Yeah.
I was just more fatigued for no reason. I was like, I'm still working out. There was no reason and I was like, this is messing with me, dude. I gotta stop it.
I remember the day I decided to quit, besides the throwing it across the room, we went and saw, when I was a film guy, me and my buddy went and saw Lady Bird. And I remember I was not paying attention to the frequency I was hitting my Juul in the back of this movie theater. And like smack dab in the middle of Lady Bird, I had a huge panic attack. I remember turning to my buddy and just nudging him. I was like, you don't need to know this, but I'm having a panic attack right now.
Because you didn't have any left?
No, just because I was so amped on this stuff. Like
Oh,
I was just
jeez.
going like it was my oxygen. At
What is Lady Bird? I don't remember that movie.
It's got like Saoirse Ronan in it. It was like Greta, someone. It was like a A24 film. They make a lot of good movies.
Oh, okay.
Like the production company.
It's like an alt movie, kind of.
Yeah.
Are you into those artsy movies?
I not so much, but that one was nice. That was a
Okay.
good, decent ride. They call them coming of age movies. They're
Yeah.
like where they try to identify with the regular moviegoer almost.
Uh-huh.
They try and pull heartstrings on people that have maybe experienced the same life.
Yeah.
There's really usually nothing supernatural or not, of this world in it. It's usually just literally about someone. I remember they made one called Boyhood about.
Yes, I was just gonna ask you about that one.
Yeah.
You seen that?
About
You seen that?
Yeah. He was like 5, and then they would like turn on the
They
camera
filmed it
every
over
year
10
of his life.
years.
Yeah.
That was incredible.
Yeah.
That they kept that going.
Yeah. I remember watching that, and also was surprised how much I liked that one.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't love it, and I don't like. It's not my cup of tea, those kind of films. But Lady Bird and that are the two exceptions, probably.
Mm-hmm.
I could probably think of more, but there's a lot out there that suck too.
Yeah. It was funny. Jerry Seinfeld and Brian Regan. I was before you came here. I was watching their Comedians in Car episode,
Yeah.
and Jerry was like, "What's with people saying? I liked it. I didn't love it. Like, it didn't blow me away." And he's like, "Yeah, everybody says it like that. Like, yeah, it was okay.
Yeah.
Didn't." And then Brian Regan was like, "Yeah, so this Dynamite I got, it was all right. Didn't blow me away, but." Like, really?
That was good.
I'm still here, so it didn't blow it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to get over. I used to have a problem with saying I hate this, I hate that, because I hate is a word that can just so naturally flow out of your mouth.
Yeah.
And
Now are you more
I'm better about being observant of what words I use.
Okay.
Because I don't want to just be the guy who loves and hates stuff.
Sure.
There's a lot more than that.
Yeah.
You can just be indifferent towards. I feel like a lot of what I thought I hated growing up, I was just indifferent towards.
Like what? Give me an example of something you thought you hated.
It would just be like, it'd just be basic shit. And it would piss, when I would reflect on it later, it would piss me off almost that I would be like, dude, it was such a basic thing. Like,
Yeah.
like sports, or like, I would walk around saying, I hate football. But I don't mean that. Like, I know,
You're just not into football?
I know too much about football to hate it.
Okay.
But it was like a regimen. It was like a thing in my family. Like, you were to be cultured in sports.
Uh-huh.
So I naturally went the other way with it. But I never can say I hate sports or I hate football.
Yeah.
I know too much about. I would rather not watch it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. If I meet a decent looking, she'd have to be an 8. If I meet an 8 who loves sports, I can do some pretending.
So you're not a sports fan at all?
I like baseball and I like the Braves.
You could say you hate it.
I liked them before.
Okay. Before they just won the championship?
Yeah. I want to clarify.
You're not a bandwagon?
Yeah. I liked them actually when they got the new park, the SunTrust Park. That's a fun place to hang out.
Yeah, definitely.
Or Truist, they now call it. But the Battery is what they call the area. It's fun area.
Yeah, man. It's good. I think it's kind of fun to hate stuff.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's fun. Well, there's a couple of things. Like my little brother Josh hates some stuff.
Yeah.
Like he hates Kirk Cousins, the quarterback, more than anyone.
Yeah.
And he was the quarterback for the team he liked, but he just. And I like to go on rants, like pick people that I don't like, and it's kind of sarcastic, but to just go off. Like there's certain commentators.
I used to thought I hated Tom Brady, but then after that last season, I was like, you know what?
Dude.
He's a cool dude. The way he celebrated and he threw that trophy from one boat to the other.
Dude, he was hammered.
And then the way that Karen complained about it online and just like tried to cancel Tom for doing, I was like, I've never seen a quarterback celebrate this cool in my life. Like, and also what he did for Drew Brees, even if it was all for show, when he like retired that one game, the last game they played each other, and
what did he do?
Like came out, like when the team was leaving, he came out and like hung out with Drew and his kids on the field or whatever.
Okay,
it was just like a nice little moment, probably for the cameras, but also felt real. Like you can see a lot of stuff and call out the bullshit, but that felt kind of real. But yeah, here I am. I'm talking about football.
Yeah, there you go, dude. I used to hate Tom Brady. I used to think his life was like annoyingly perfect.
Me too, yeah.
And it just
he actually used to be. The Patriots will do it to you. I think that team makes you a mean person.
Really?
I think so.
Just like you mirror Bill Belichick's personality. He's just like
you hear about
you all become that
coach. About how he tells his team like you can't have any fun when you're not on the football field, and then the Steelers coach is the exact opposite. He was always like, I want you to go out and get fucked up on the weekends, and then come back with all that baggage and let's work it out on the field.
Oh my gosh, it's an interesting strategy.
Yeah,
I mean Belichick had more success, I guess, but yeah, I hated Tom because at first I thought it was just like he was a system quarterback and like. There wasn't a lot special about him because every time I watched him, I mean, he's not fast. He just sits in the pocket. I mean, he throws darts and stuff, but I was like, well, can he really do it, in other regimes? And then he left and went to Tampa and beat the Packers in the NFC Championship game. And I'm like, dude, hard not to respect the guy. And he's been at it so long that it's like, I can only hate somebody for so long. I mean, if you outlast my... Yeah.
All those people picking on Aaron Rodgers because he was having fun in the offseason,
Yeah.
They said he had too much fun in the off, going out on those vacations with Miles Teller and all that crew, and I mean, it's just dumb. I think, if anything, what made me like sports again was all this cancel culture bullshit because they got bored of the movie industry and comedians, and they say that's not enough. Let's go after sports now.
Right.
So then it becomes fun. It becomes fun to become. I've always been on the team of anti that. Mm-hmm. So I want to now. I'm rooting for sports all of a sudden.
Right. Exactly. And like merit based. Yeah. Like on the field there is no cancel culture.
Yeah.
So like if you can win on the field, like you can overcome the shitty opinions of all that crap. Same with comedy, I think. And that's that's the other reason I think I stopped hating Tom Brady, because I realized like a lot of it was superficial reasons, but like bottom line, for him to win Super Bowls year after year after year, he is working his ass off. There's no way to like fake that, Yeah. So like, and same with like, I think, actors can get canceled and never work again because nobody will put them on a role. But comedians, as long as you still have a fan base that forgives you, if you need to be forgiven, or if it's bullshit, they can just ignore it. As long as you still have a fan base, like you can still perform, you can still do your work. Like Louis C.K., like that's my favorite example.
Oh yeah.
Who's still out there doing stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like the
just sold out the Garden.
Yeah.
To do that special.
Yeah, I cannot wait for that to come out. And
just says sorry behind him or whatever.
I know. I saw those pictures on his website. This was another part of that interview with Jerry Seinfeld and Brian Regan that I just watched. But Jerry said the cool thing about stand-up is somebody who's good at it and like working, it's rare that they don't get somewhere.
Yeah.
It's rare that they don't get somewhere with it.
I can see that, yeah.
Which
Bill
is
Burr
good for you because you're funny.
Yeah, thank you.
So,
Thank
yeah.
you. I'm trying.
Yeah, dude, we all are. But anyway, Brian, and Jerry was kind of like, why do you think that is? And Brian Regan said, I think it's because of the objective nature of the laugh. Like, you can't really fake that.
Yeah.
Laugh is involuntary.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then,
I like what
it's kind of like on the field, like, cancel me in the media, but go watch me on Sunday and I'll throw a touchdown pass and screw you. You cannot argue with that. Like this competitive ground is pretty sacred, and I'm going to prove you wrong, or I'm going to overcome whatever bullshit you're trying to. Same thing with comedy. If you can get laughs, nobody can,
Yeah. I like what Jerry said about just having just the balls to get on stage in the first place. He compared it. He had an analogy for it. It'd be like going to a funeral, like the guy who gives the speech at a funeral. Like a lot of times you'd rather be the one in the casket than the one giving the speech at a funeral.
Yeah.
And I thought about, and then he's like, he is so right.
Yeah.
Even though I do this crazy art form, there's days like that where I'm like, I don't feel like getting on stage. I've got this weird headspace today where I'm like, maybe this is like, maybe I'm crazy.
Yeah.
But I'll obviously always get through, because I tell myself you did it the last time, and then you worked it out.
Yeah.
And now every time, and the fear never goes away, but every time I feel it like just like a little bit easier every time.
Totally.
It'll never get where it's, not hard to do on stage.
Yeah. There's kind of an interesting psychological principle about all this, and I nerd out about this stuff all the time, but like there's something that's like good for you as a human about like doing something that scares you. Like there's part of you that's telling you not to do it, but you do it anyway. Yeah. Like every time you do that, you kind of get a little tougher and stronger. And it's kind of like the opposite effect. If there's something like you should do, and it scares you, but you ignore it, the bigger that thing becomes in your mind, and it's just like a monster that like grows and grows and grows. It's kind of like putting off an awkward conversation with like a girlfriend or a family member. Like I need to confront you about this personal issue, but I don't want to because it'd be uncomfortable. Or like I think I've heard this. Jordan Peterson gives this example of like a husband and a wife. Let's say there's something that's bothering one of them, and it starts out as this little annoying thing, and you decide to ignore it, and then nothing really seems to be happening. But then after like 6 months, it becomes like this monstrous thing. A fight breaks out, and all of a sudden it's this massive thing. I hate you, we're getting divorced. As opposed to, having the difficult conversation, which is similar to like getting on stage, just confronting it. It becomes smaller and smaller and smaller. and you become a better like then you can move on to other things. If you ignore that thing, then it just becomes this thing in your life that doesn't ever get addressed.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So if that I don't know if that's making sense.
No,
I'm
it
kind of
does,
making a parallel, but yeah, with stand up, I feel like that too. Like I have to force myself to get on stage. I always am, even if it goes horribly. I always feel better after I get off.
What's cool about comedy, I had to learn this. It was like a learned behavior, but because I came from film where it was okay to always constantly be criticizing things.
Yep.
It probably goes back to the hate thing a little bit, but like to be like, I hate this movie, I dislike this movie, this one was good, this one, and that was like acceptable, even cool to do while you were. But then I come to comedy with the same attitude. And then I immediately have to correct because I learned pretty quickly, like, for instance, I'm not the hugest Bo Burnham fan.
Yeah.
But I learned to it's better to just be the guy who doesn't speak up about the Inside Special than to be the guy who has all these faults and stuff wrong about it. And to be honest with you, I don't like the musical side of comedy. I just never gave it the time of day.
Yeah, sure.
But
yeah.
I learned pretty quickly, like, it's just cool that we're doing it. You have to like have a mutual respect for everyone who does it.
Yeah.
And it's been like a learned thing, but now I really feel like I do have it because I have a hard time criticizing any comedians now.
Yeah.
Like, even if I don't like what they put out that night, I know that they might come back the next time with some stuff that will shock the living hell out of me. So I've learned that it's more fun to live that way. You don't want to like walk around with all this bitterness.
Totally.
Of like, I hate this, I dislike, and it's always here of just like the realm of possibility of like this guy that might not be my cup of tea on any given night is gonna blow my socks off tonight. Like,
it can kind of make you that I agree with that approach to comedy completely. And I feel like that too. Like the more I do, the more I'm like, dude, I love all these people. Like, I love the guy that was his first time. Like, that's amazing. I remember my first time. That's so great. And like, you know, if it's good or bad, or if they bombed, or even if they did like a horribly offensive racist joke, they were trying to be funny. And like, you know, like I don't even and not to even like say like I know any better. Like I would have advice or anything for them. It's just like, yeah, comedy's freaking cool. And because you know how hard it is. And it does make me look back and cringe at things that I've criticized. Like, especially, like, I was pretty idealistic as a college kid and growing up. Like, I had really strong beliefs. Mm-hmm. And I would sometimes voice those on social media. Like, I can look back in election years and see posts I would make about, like, this issue is so important and that side is stupid and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, I'm such a freaking idiot. Like, why would I do that?
Yeah.
So I think it kind of spread out to your other, like, to your broader life. Like,
I was stealing, back in the old social media days, I was stealing, like, clever, funny tweets and then reposting them on my Facebook.
You were?
Yeah.
Oh, and, man.
I'm glad that didn't carry over later in life to comedy. But
yeah,
just because I felt left out, honestly, that was the only reason, is because I didn't want to be the guy posting about politics. I didn't want to be the guy posting about my everyday life. I just wanted to kind of be out of my head and posting about, I guess, observational stuff.
Yeah.
And it was all corny. It was stuff that you can't even apply to comedy. It was like, you know, like one of the, is like, you know, the saying about the lemon, you know, you get when they would change
life gives you lemons.
Yeah, and then there
lemonade.
was so many different comedic takes on that, you know.
Yeah.
When life gives you lemons, squirt them in an infant's eye, and all that kind of stuff, like dumb stuff like that. I was reposting.
Yeah.
I remember there was like a Twitter account. I remember the name of it. It was Phil Werrell. It was Will Ferrell, backwards.
Yeah.
And I was like, he has the most genius stuff, and no one knows about him, so I'm gonna take a couple of these. And that was like the extent of my. And then comedy got me back in because I gave it up for a little bit, and then I did go through a pretty cringe like selfie phase, I guess.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I'm just like I realized for a while the only stuff I was posting was me.
With the comedy stuff when you first started?
No. This is just like me doing nothing, being boring.
Yeah.
This is just like me.
I definitely.
I bet I look different today. Like then, and it's just I was like, dude, you're like a fucking girl. When I look back on it, I was like, I'm like a girl.
Yeah.
So I was like, I kind of just started over. Which I looked at comedy as a way to start over, and so now I'm still doing kind of the self-indulgent stuff, because you need to self-promote with comedy, but it feels proactive and it feels like it's going somewhere.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like I'm just like, people can read through that bullshit when you just sit there and you're on just a couch cushion and then just you got like white walls behind you and you're just like, look at me.
Yeah.
And like it's like I had to get out of that. And I'm glad that I think I would have done it pretty effectively without comedy, but this is way better because now I have a reason to do that and fill that hole that I need filling. And then also now I can just, not, I don't know, just kind of, that's.
Yeah. I just said a lot there. I was going to say, I feel like.
I kind of lost, like my motor ran out.
No,
like,
well,
I'm out of gas.
Well, the first part of what you were
fill up.
saying when you were like regurgitating other people's tweets and stuff.
Yeah.
I was very much that way in terms of like quoting stuff because like I idolized other people's comedy, like freaking Seinfeld. I had memorized every movie quote, like line for line of any funny movie, and I would recite those. I remember I'd recite SNL stuff back, and it gave me a lot of like, it was so fun to quote those with your friends and just but never anything original. I was never brave enough to like have my own original funny ideas. It was all like somebody else's.
It's fine. When Seinfeld's your goal, it's a reach because clean comedy is hard. So I admire you for even having that as like, I guess one of my role models is Nate, Bargatze, and they're like,
I hate Nate Bargatze.
Seinfeld.
I'm gonna bring out the hate. I'm just kidding.
Seinfeld and Nate are both clean.
They are.
And I looked at them like, how do you do this? Because it's statistically like proven somewhere. I don't know. Don't hold me to it, but I have seen. I feel like where you can, in the F word in any given joke or sentence makes it funnier. I mean, like the fuck is just a funny word, and it's like the syllable. I don't remember what it is. Like the psychology of the word.
Hard C's are funny. That's why I think the funniest word in the English language is cock. Because it's got two hard C's. It's one syllable, and it's a penis.
But it becomes a scapegoat if you're not careful.
No, I agree.
Both those words. So to be able to just stay clean and avoid that, it's like a drug of a word. Yeah. Both those.
Yeah, dude, I agree. Clean comedy is super hard. But I will say, I don't know. Have you ever seen Jerry Seinfeld's special? I'm telling you for the last time, his HBO special.
Yes.
Yeah. So, when I think back on that special and what he talks about, it is clean, but it's not nice.
No,
it's mean.
And
so is the show. The show Seinfeld is very mean, and it's also very like the worst parts of their personalities come out, and that's what people laugh at. Like you laugh at George's neuroticism and selfishness, and the juxtaposition between like he's got a huge ego, but he's also such a loser. Like, and he's just such. They're all so self-centered, and like the way their adventures unfold in this disastrous fashion, or maybe good stuff happens, is what's funny about it, and how they play off of each other. So it's not like it's, your grandma's sitcom just because it's clean. I feel like we've kind of gotten a little desensitized, like everything's got to be, cock and fuck and everything nowadays. But
can you think of it now that I'm thinking? This just hit me too because I'm like having a revelation. Can you really even think of a comedian that's funny by being like overtly positive all the time? Because usually it's cynical if
dark,
it's that way.
cynical.
It's like Tim Dillon has this pretty. Even when Tim, he's a horrible because he's actually really negative all the time. But he'll have positive spins on things. But you just learn with Tim, he's being sarcastic right now.
Right.
He's being a cynic, and that's a fun angle. Mm-hmm. But I can't think of anyone.
Bargatze,
maybe Dimitri Martin. But
he's silly, but he's also very dry in his delivery and very like tongue in cheek, like
I feel like the punchline is always a bit. You have to have that like
edge.
Yeah. I think that's what makes clean comedy. So what makes it so hard? Because once you're able to get to the point where you're able to do it, have the edge without having any of the filler cuss words or anything like that. Mm-hmm. you've made it. I
Right.
mean, you there's the sky's the limit, and you're
Right.
gonna make a hell of a lot more money apparently.
Yeah. I mean,
Doing-
I don't like to
working-
think too much about whether it's clean or dirty necessarily.
Yeah.
I mean-
I'm at that point. I don't think it would be unhealthy for us to either of us to probably think that way
To
right
limit,
now.
yeah, we don't even know who we are.
Yeah.
So we're so new.
It's so much
But-
more fun for me right now to just be dirty.
Yeah. Yeah. But like, some of the great bits are freaking clean.
Yeah.
Like the oxygen tank bit,
Yeah.
that is clean.
That's true.
Squeaky. So, I kind of think there does have to be an edge for the majority of the stuff because one of the metaphors we've talked about on here before is it's like a date. And if you think about flirting with the girl, usually when you flirt with the girl, you're kind of giving her shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if the audience is a girl, you're kind of like giving them a little shit and you're being mean playfully. Not like if you're actually a dick, that's not a good way to flirt. But like if you're, playful and nice and that you do have that kind of edge and danger to you, which hopefully makes her like you. But,
Who, Momo?
Momo. Yeah. These are, you need to try.
We'll
Give Momo shit tonight.
we'll throw one more
Do you got any pickup
one more
lines?
Momo tag in there.
Do you got any Momo pickup lines? Do you have any pickup lines you could use?
No, yeah, I don't. Not on the spot. I don't.
Did you just say, "Let me be the stool"? Queen Momo has a joke where she acts out her jujitsu,
Yeah,
and she has the stool between her legs like this.
you can never get enough. You always want some Momo.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh my god!
There's a dumb one. You
Just
never
can't
did
get
enough with a name like that.
Monica, I just can't get enough. I always want some Momo.
Yeah.
That's so
Strangely, on a podcast like that, this is the first time I felt like killing myself the whole time I've been here.
well.
After a joke like that.
Yeah,
But
no, it's
yeah,
great.
No, all love, Momo. I'm just fucking around.
Yeah. We like to out crushes on here. Actually, I don't know that I've done that before. So, do you watch Kill Tony?
I do. That's probably where I've got some of this edge from. But
Do you know Doug Allen just got on Kill Tony?
I did.
That was on my
I don't
mind
know
today
him
because I put it on my story.
personally, I know Doug Yee. I got the two mixed up.
Doug
Matt,
Almeida?
Yeah, Matt was telling me it's cool because y'all know him from. It's crazy because I already know two people from the Atlanta scene that have gone on.
Really?
Yeah, and it's
Who do you know?
there's a guy
Atlanta?
named Josh Harris who's been on, pretty recent one actually, and then Nathan Driver's been on.
Okay.
And yeah, I went and watched their episodes, and it's crazy because you have to be ready. You can't just be good. Both of them had good sets.
Uh-huh.
But the whole other side is like it's almost like the interview's more important
Yeah.
because it comes last.
Sure. So real
So-
quick before we
Yeah.
So if anybody doesn't know, most comics who are watching know Kill Tony is a show, live comedy show / podcast
Yeah.
that's recorded, but there's like an audience. Tony Hinchcliffe is the main guy,
Yeah.
and they have guest hosts who've been some real famous comics. Like the guest hosts there are like Rogan has been a guest host,
Yeah.
Bill Burr has been a guest host, Tim Dillon, and they pick names out of a hat, and each person that goes up does a minute of stand up and then an interview.
Yeah.
And we're just saying our friend Doug from Charleston was on it. So yeah, you were saying there's two parts that you have to kind of
Yeah, and
do
it's
well at.
So there's an interview process that comes right after the stand-up, where usually, like clockwork, Tony will find a flaw,
Mm-hmm.
usually physical,
Uh-huh.
about what's. So I'm an easy target about what he's gonna attack it's your goal to kind of. I mean, it's an interview, but it usually
Mhm.
starts pretty like. He wants to see how thick your skin is.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying the Atlanta people struggle, but if you struggle anywhere, it's going to be there. Because
Yeah.
a lot of people go in like, I'm going to do a killer minute and get some YouTube time and get my name out there, and that's a fun way to look at it for sure. But after comes this interview process, which really makes or breaks the entire So you're set. I've seen Tony love sets and then hate the person by the end of it
Really?
because he's just like, this guy is like a brick wall to talk to.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I'll be damned if you're the one that they'll usually ask you to do. I would hate this part. They'll find a talent you have and use it and exploit it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be damned if you're the guy. I've only seen a few people get away with this where they're just like, I'm not doing this. And Tony doesn't give you shit for it. If you're an interesting enough person in the
So
interview.
you say your talent and then you say, I'm not going to do it in front of you?
Yeah. Or what's worse is Tony, a lot of times he'll pry. So if you have nothing, he'll be like, well, we're going to get you to sing then right now.
Okay.
And then if you're that guy who's like, I'm not, if you get away with
So
that.
you have to say a talent? Is that a thing he always asks?
Yeah. I've been binging it a little much, and I've noticed a pattern. Not that it's bad, but it's just something to be aware of going in, because he's gonna fire on all cylinders and try and find and exploit a weakness. But that's how you know your interview's gone well, is if you get to that point and you deny Tony the
opportunity to destroy you,
and he doesn't pry any further.
Okay.
If you're able to be an interesting enough person where Tony's like, you know what, this can fly without this happening.
Yeah.
And that happens rarely.
I think Doug's
usually what happens is he's just like, if you, at the point where you deny, he goes, well, this guy is just completely lost my interest. All right, next.
Yeah.
And then he just like get off stage.
Yeah. He didn't do that to Doug.
Yeah.
Did you watch his?
I didn't watch the most recent Tony yet.
Yeah, his interview, I talked to Doug today, but he said it was a little. He thought he bombed it, but I watched the whole thing, and Tony did not, dismiss him like annoyingly. Doug did a handstand and walked on the stage, and I thought he handled himself really well. Not surprisingly, he's really funny, but yeah, I cannot imagine. I think I have seen some past episodes where Tony just eats people alive, and that's horrifying. But I can imagine how nervous I'd be to be on that thing.
I know. It's
but anyway, so do you see yourself 26 now? Do you see yourself doing this at age, what's double 26? 52?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right now, yeah.
Yeah.
I hobby hop a lot in life. I've had a problem with that in the past, but this feels astronomically different.
Does it?
Yeah.
What other hobbies have you had?
Well, the filmmaking is an easy go-to. And then, like, I was a big tennis player growing up.
Okay.
Which is also why I have no girlfriends.
Yeah.
I fit the stereo. I didn't get the gay bug from tennis.
That's good. I mean, not good or bad, I guess. I don't care.
Yeah, be careful what you say. I'm just kidding. But,
gays are less than straight. No.
Yeah. They're perfectly cool, fun people to make material about.
Yeah. Gay is funny. Straight's funny. Equal. They are equal in every way except sex, how they prefer it.
I like Mark's bit. Like, I like how Mark is able to weave in.
Mark Norman?
Yeah. Like, he has some bit where he's talking about how he likes to hang out at gay bars because it, like, feeds his ego. And it's nice to get hit on by someone every once in a while.
Yeah, because girls don't hit on guys, dude.
No. Yeah.
Some do, but
I bet it's a real stroke of ego. But I don't remember how and I'm glad I don't remember how the whole bit goes, but I remember like the punchline of it being like, and let me tell you, the sex is brutal. It's like such a funny way to put gay. It's like, it seems simple, but it's like a funny angle.
Yeah, absolutely. So how are the hobbies that you had compared to stand-up? Like you said, it feels night and day different. Stand-up to the filmmaking, the tennis, all that.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. There's like this component that's like, and I think it's like, because there's a lot going on with stand-up. There's like a whole new like friend dynamic going on. Like, you're excited to get out and see the same people all the time. You don't feel like it's like a set or a cruise or something like that where It's a group of people that is just like moving around constantly, and you never see each other for long enough to make a solid connection. So there's like a little bit of that, I guess. It's never like you can never have enough friends. That's a fun feeling. It's just like you just keep meeting people. And then the material, the high is just like unlike anything. Like when you kill on stage, which I don't want to say I kill because that's a strong word, but like when you do well, it's like amazing. Like it's such a good feeling.
I know, dude.
I honestly am not even kidding about this. I could leave stage and have no one tell me anything, like feed my ego in any way, as long as I know I got those laughs. Because sometimes it's just obvious. You had a great set. But comics are all just in their own heads. Sometimes they're just too stubborn to speak up. I'm the same way. Sometimes I'm too stubborn to speak up. I'm just like, man, he had such a good set. You know,
God damn it.
Because we're all human.
Alex did great.
We all have those moments.
Yeah, totally.
Sometimes it goes well enough where all you need is yourself for the encouragement. It's just if it ever goes that welly high, you can't beat it.
No.
You know, you don't even need a fist bump from somebody. You can just, it's all there already. Like, I had a great set. All these people can think otherwise. The audience certainly thinks I had a great set. But I'm talking comics. Like, it's so many people hold their success to what another comic thinks about them. And it's hard for me not to sometimes. But I'm trying to realize, why did you start comedy? At the end of the day, it's about getting people to laugh. Everyday people. Not the comics. Who cares what they think? Just everyday people to laugh. And I think it's somewhere in there. I'm fishing for it. The reason why it feels different. But it's like probably a accumulation of all that.
The high of doing well is it is insane. You're right. And there's those few times where like it couldn't really have gone much better based on where you're at that moment. And like everything you tried worked, and like maybe you had a nice opening line, so you started hot and it just kept, and then you come off, and like you said, it doesn't matter like if you get the attaboys or not. It's like you can feel that that people saw it and recognized it, and it's like it's so cool. You feel larger than life for that little while. You feel like you're walking on a cloud, and it's like, you know, I can't think of anything else like it. There's been a few times where like a victory in a sports game feels similarly. Like I remember one time.
For sure,
we our football team. It's a Division II school, very small liberal arts college, 1,200 students. We were playing against Grand Valley State, and they have 20,000 students, and they were the perennial powerhouse. Number one in the country. They hadn't lost a game in the month of October for like 5 years. They were like the Alabama of D2. And we had just gotten our asses kicked the week before by Finley, who was not that good. And we were going to this game, and we were like, we got no chance. Like, you know, or a lot of us were down, and we just battled it out, and somehow we were in it to the end, and we were ahead. And Grand Valley had a field goal to kick to tie it, and they missed it. And our student section rushed the field. And when it became real, and we all rushed the field, like it was like such a surreal, out of body kind of experience. But that is kind of how it feels killing on stage. But I think it's similar because there's similar maybe components that go into it. Like you put a lot of work into your killing. Doesn't like doing well doesn't just happen. You got to have the reps. You got to have the writing. You had to like do a lot and go through a lot of bad crap to get to that moment where it kind of works, you know. So it's like like just there's some kind of dopamine kick that's really hard to
in describe. A way. Like it feel like the insanity of what we do is kind of earned. It's like because I had a rough go at college, you know, like I spent the whole first year just drinking like an immense amount. So much so that I might or might not have wet the bed a couple of times. And that's where I learned like it's possible to drink yourself to like not having a filter there.
Right.
And I was a miserable person. I remember getting arrested,
Oh, geez.
which was crazy.
What'd you get arrested
got
for?
Dropped underage drinking. How sad is that?
Well,
19 years old, leaving a McDonald's, we get stopped, and you know, they're trying to find anything. We're still suspicious of why we got pulled over to this day, but they say we didn't stop at the stop sign, even though we had the sober driver and everything. And they were claimed there was weed smell, which none of us had smoked that night.
Right.
So they were fishing for it. And then they were like, well, you all should get breathalyzed then. And if you deny a breathalyzer, I don't know if this is still the case, but it's kind of just like fair game to just be in the back of the cop car anyways when it's all said and done. So there's really no reason to one way
don't
or
they
the
just
other.
take you back to the station and make you take a blood test or something?
I think it gets real tricky even if you like refuse it. Anyways, I just remember being in the back of this cop car, and I remember probably where I hit an all-time low, but also was kind of funny was where I blew like a .17, which is like
Not that bad. Wait, is it?
it's very bad.
Is it?
Yeah,
Oh.
it's to the point where
Never mind. That's double the legal
the
limit.
cop
Because
was-
.08 is the legal limit.
the cop was like any like higher, and you would be like we would have to send you to a hospital.
Oh my
For-
gosh.
I remember being so gone that like getting arrested was still a party, and I was like, this is fun. My two friends were freaking out. I'm the middle seat. I'm bitch seat, of course, because look at my size.
Oh my gosh.
I'm in
Yeah.
the middle, and two friends are just crying. It's already
were
set in
crying?
with them, like that. Not like bawling, but that man cry where it's just like
Sniffles.
they're trying to hide it, And I remember thinking to myself, I need to cheer my buddies up. So I realized that my hands or my wrists are so skinny, I can just slip in and out of the cuffs. So I'm slipping out of my cuffs and I'm showing my friends. I'm like, look, I'm Houdini. And then they're cracking up. And then the cop's like, hey, cut it out back there. And then I just like would slip them back in.
Oh my god.
And like, I'm doing that like the whole way to the gym.
Dude, you're lucky you didn't get tased.
Yeah, I remember but I look back at that and think, that was everyone has a rock bottom, and for me that was
Yeah.
it. That was where I realized, and that was Dahlonega, Georgia, which is just a hellhole.
Yeah.
No, nothing fun there. Just a bunch of mountains.
Dahlonega.
And,
I know Dahlonega.
yeah, just a bunch of mountains and just nothing to do but just hike around and party. So I obviously did enough of that.
Yeah.
And then, now I'm up to the point where it's well earned. Like I've lived a not crazy enough life, but crazy enough for me where I look back and I'm like, I've had enough downs, and comedy still can be a down, but that's what's taught, it's that corny, you get knocked down, get back up again song, I guess. But life is really like that for a comedian. It gets to the point where you can be a comedian because you've had enough of those, where bombing becomes like just an everyday thing. Whereas people out in the
Becomes no
regular,
big deal.
people out in the regular world are having their get knocked downs right now.
Yeah.
And they're like, how the hell do I deal with this?
Yeah.
And
It's
I'm
funny
just so
too,
used
because
to it. Yeah.
To me, it makes everyday life things less of a big deal. Like if something doesn't go right in my everyday life, I'm just like, whatever. I bombed on stage the other night, so I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like I'm not as attached to things that I used to be. I used to be so stressed about shit. Oh my gosh. So stressed. Like everything has to work out. And I'm just like,
yeah.
Oh, this girl didn't call me back. I'm going to freaking kill myself. Like, who
Yeah,
cares?
yeah.
There'll be a billion girls,
Yeah.
Probably scare off most of them. Who cares? Like, whatever. There'll be another one. There
remember-
always is another mic. There's always another. And I think looking at things like that is nice because, like, before I started stand-up, I felt like I didn't know what else was even for me. I was like,
Yeah.
there wasn't anything. Now I feel like everything's opening up to where, more people you meet.
Oh, yeah.
A new
yeah,
stage,
yeah.
a new joke idea. It's like I look at like things like it's opening up in a positive versus it being closed off and I'm just trying to hack away at the next thing that I don't even want to do. Like, what career goal do I have that I even give a shit about? Zero. Well, I shouldn't say that in front of my. Well,
Yeah.
not as much as I do with when it compares to comedy. Like, I'd much rather have like, a new cool person I meet, or a new cool venue, or a new cool gig, or like just a new cool joke with somebody, or seeing my friends do better, seeing my friends come up with new jokes.
What's great is you see those, like, Segura's still doing this on his podcast, but like where real comedians that we look up to and admire are still having those conversations of like, we can't believe we do this for a living. How awesome is this?
Yeah.
And that's great to hear. Sure.
Because like they're not sick of it, like they're not like burned out. And, like freaking.
The day I would worry is the day I hadn't heard that from them in a while.
Yeah.
Because like it seems like to the average person it might seem like, oh, they're just stroking their own ego. No, but that's a very humble, like, real thing. Like, I want that. If I had that feeling, you should never take that for granted. I mean, sure, maybe you don't have to say it into a microphone every so often, but
I love comedy. Comedy is so special. All of you simps who don't do comedy don't know how cool.
Yeah, but it's I don't know.
No, I agree. I like get romantic about it too, and all like philosophical.
Yeah. Right now, like, I love it, and I'm not making any money. So how crazy is that?
Right. I don't give a shit. I don't even like it.
Yeah.
When it gets too businessy, you know what I mean? Like, I don't get booked a lot, but like when I do, like occasionally, I'm like, I almost like open mics better in a way.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, like, I would take every booked gig and do all of that, and I think there's different phases of this probably where like it'll get more fun and cool when like it's hopefully if you keep doing it, you perform in front of bigger audiences that are more or less there to see you at some point years down the line. But yeah, right now, like, I would do it for free, and I love it a lot. So yeah, the whole process is fun, which is why it doesn't matter doing a freaking podcast where like 5 people watch. I don't care for shit. So
yeah, who needs that?
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best thing is just with podcasts, and one thing I admire for you for doing it is it gives, not only it doesn't give you material, but it keeps you working out.
Yeah,
even if it's like softball workout compared to like just being on a stage or whatever.
Yeah,
it keeps you talking. It keeps you in the headspace of jokes, and maybe there hasn't been enough of those while we've been talking. But it's you need to be like, as comedians, I still have a huge reflective backbone. Yeah. So like I'm just as capable of having conversations like this where it's very like real and just like, how did we get here? Like, kind of, and all that. But yeah, and then interweaving the comedy is nice too. But it's just like talking. Comedians have to stay talking. Yeah. It's like this bad thing.
It's like the only way you stop.
There was
the
somebody.
Only way you die is if you stop talking.
Rogan was saying on his podcast, he was like, my parents would always tell me growing up, you talk too much. And he was like, I was wondering where that would pay off, and here we are. Like that kind of deal. And I think Theo was on, and he was like, me too. Like, it's a common comedian problem. I feel like only maybe the what's the word for it? The comedians that are like deadpan can get away with maybe not being huge talkers throughout their lives, because that's what their act is built off of. Right. But if you're just like, I'd say 80% of comedians have a talking problem, like issue that becomes a non-issue because they channeled it the right way, right, into an art form. Still art crazy form. To say.
This is art.
But hey, I have a defense. If we're gonna call tattoo people artists,
then we're definitely freaking artists. If you call actors artists, comedians are artists.
I love tattoos. I have a couple myself, but you just sit there and trace all day. Yeah. If you're gonna call that an art form, we can call what we do art.
Yeah, I agree. Shoot, I had something I was gonna say and I forgot. Oh yeah, the podcasting thing, dude. It feels so dumb. Like when you first start.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's so hard. I still feel dumb about it. But the thing that's cool about it, that like if you, that's nice to have, because
Yeah.
so much of comedy is like, or anything where you're trying to be creative is like, there's just ideas floating out there.
Yeah.
And it's, am I gonna write it down? Am I gonna make that movie? Am I gonna write that script? I'll put it off. Like, you don't have any structure or like a schedule or anything around it.
Yeah.
With stand up, if you're gonna hit mics, like you're like gonna be on a schedule, I'm gonna hit these mics and stick to that. But with the podcast, I'm like committing to putting one of these out, so I know like by Sunday I have to have it edited, and like
Yeah.
I'm gonna have something. So it's like, okay, it's like a chore that I'm gonna do, and it just keeps things going.
It's the way I see it is either podcasting or just tweeting jokes into the void. And God knows I hate Twitter.
Yeah.
So if I were to start one of these myself, it's just funner to be the podcast guy than it is to be. I just hate having a social media voice. It's boring to me.
Yeah.
And also, who wants to tweet jokes and then try them on? Some people do, but to me, it just seems like a headache. And I would always ask myself, like, what if everyone's already seen, even though they haven't?
Yeah, I feel like it could be misrepresented too. If
Yeah.
just the words are out there,
Yeah.
the delivery could affect how it's perceived.
I know Mark does both, and
Mark does
and
both,
it's
yeah.
crazy. If you're talented and you're able to get past all just the sad sat that Twitter's become.
Yeah, like all the hate he's gonna get on it is like, there's
Not even that. Just like, as long as you have a clean feed where it's just none of those people that's predominantly just like pity me, like Twitter.
Oh,
The one that I was accustomed to growing up, where I wasn't a comedian. It's just people hating on themselves all the time. That's where people just, to me, Twitter's the most negative of all the sites.
yeah, where they like attack other people or attack them, or like
people
cry about their own
themselves.
situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you just like clean up your feed and you're just like the comedy guy and you make sure you only add comedians and you have like, that must be a pretty cool way to have a Twitter.
Yeah.
But I have so much sour feelings towards Twitter still. I'm just not on board. I would rather go the podcast route if I wanted to stay proactive and feel like I'm always working. Like,
Yeah.
In this art form, I call it.
Yeah, art. Yeah, I gotta clean up my Twitter if I'm gonna enjoy it again. I don't get on very often, but my Twitter is polluted with politics. Oh, it's so bad. Like, all the accounts I follow are political related. It's just like wreckage from the last 2 elections, and very negative too, dude. I used to follow a lot of talking heads. I mean, I lean right, so like a lot of and even the people I agree with, I don't like to listen to too much. I have to turn it off because it's like so negative. Like, especially since doing comedy, it's like,
They're all clowns too. They're just like, they're doing.
well, I don't like it because it caters to like people that.
They're doing what we're doing in a way, because they're not telling jokes, but like sometimes I'll get off stage and like I'll have a joke about like sitting on a baby, but
My baby.
but it doesn't mean I recreationally go around and sit on infant babies.
Yeah.
It means it was a joke. What politicians do and say, sadly, is not always what they believe deep down.
Well,
so
yeah.
it's like it's all an act. And
Right,
if you're going to do a stage form, to me, just do comedy, because I'm old enough now where I'm basically apolitical at this point.
Yeah,
Like,
me too.
I don't even want to be a libertarian. I just want to be not affiliated with, because it's all buffoonery.
I'm apolitical to the extent that it doesn't affect like free speech and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I think as soon as one side gets strong enough to say, no, you can't say that because I don't like it, I'm like, no, that shit is dangerous, and I will push back against that. Like, if it encroaches on freedom, then I'm like, no, F that. But aside from that, whatever. But the thing I hate about like the machine of like, network news and like the clicks that they're trying to get and politicians and everything, it's all about getting a reaction. So it's got to be like shock value, but it's not like a positive reaction. Like if you're just going for a laugh, that's pretty positive all around.
Yeah.
If somebody's laughing, that's not negative. But if you're trying to get somebody to like hate the other side or get angry and angsty and, you know, like Shane Gillis talks about this Fox News dad and his and how, you know, if you watch Fox News too much, you'll think the world's ending if a Democrat's in office. You know, if a Republican's in office and you watch MSNBC and CNN, you'll think Donald Trump's Hitler and you'll think all this crap, but it's all this angsty, like it's getting the clicks in a really toxic way, and I think that's bullshit. And I think more people need to, more people need to shut it off and focus on something else that you like to do. It's easier to just, because I think that gets into ideology.
It does, yeah.
Like it's easier to cling to a set of rigid beliefs that explain the world than have to let go of that and figure it out for yourself and pursue something you really love. It's way easier to cling to that. And then it can be a religious ideology. Like you just get real dogmatic about that. You could be so obsessed with Donald Trump or Republican. You'd be so obsessed with, you know, leftist, Black Lives Matter, like all that. You'd be obsessed with that to where it's, and then you're just like,
you just gotta have a touch.
You're not a human anymore.
You just gotta have a touch.
You're a freaking robot. You just gotta have a touch of
just a touch of Christianity.
Just a touch of Christianity.
And gotta have a little touch.
You gotta have this little touch.
Can't have a little touch of politics because a little touch of politics can turn into a fucking tidal wave of it.
Yeah,
and that's why you just gotta eventually
I still think you
one
should
day
vote the way you want to vote, but don't. Who gives a shit?
Oh, I'm anti-voting.
You're anti-voting. That's actually an interesting position, and it's a rational position.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know why?
Why?
So this is my econ thing. I was nerding out on econ, but I had an econ professor told me in college that said, "Don't vote." We went to an extremely libertarian.
It sounds like he lasted
patriotic.
maybe 2 days.
He actually did burn out at the college.
Yeah,
but he was hilarious. Dr. Jeffrey Lee. Well, he was going to get his doctorate, but I don't know if he did. But he said, "Don't vote. It's irrational," because what it says is your vote is statistically not going to matter.
Mm-hmm.
The counter argument to that is, well, what if everybody thought that way? Well, they don't think that way. So like, you're not going to change anybody's mind.
Yeah.
So if you don't vote, your vote's not going to count. So
exactly,
it's basically like a big game of American Idol. So if you enjoy the sport of voting and you want to get all fired up for your candidate, and that's pretty fun. I mean, that's cool. But
to me, it's just this. There's a lot of dark arts going on behind whether you're one
Oh,
side
you
or
conspiracy
the other.
theorist?
There's a lot of dark. There's just a lot of not kinda.
Yeah.
But like, there's a lot of stuff going on behind closed doors with voting right now. Whether you believe one side or the other.
Do you think vote? Do you think the game's rigged?
Possibly.
And I think so too.
If that comes to light, I don't want to be the sucker. So that's kind of really the 80%.
That's why.
That's like the 80.
Interesting.
It's like the 80% reason I don't vote, and the other 20% being the boring, like my vote doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But I really think if that comes out to light, and we're just like all a part of this sick game of like no votes, it kind of is no votes matter.
I think society could collapse if that came to light.
Yeah.
Because the whole system,
I want to be on the winning team. I want to be the guy who's like, it didn't affect me.
Yeah, but dude, if that comes out, it won't matter. Like, there's going to be so many riots that like this. Our society kind of hinges on like a razor's edge before it'll go into chaos.
There will be no more Portland if all that comes out.
Portland blows. So does every major blue state city.
Yeah.
I mean, there's cool ones. I've loved New York and Chicago and stuff, but they got problems. A lot of them due to bad policy. But yeah, dude. If voting's rigged, dang. Because I thought about that, like a lot of irregularities in the 2020 election that were alleged, and it's really hard to prove it with paper ballots, mail-in ballots.
Yeah, I feel like Shane right now. I don't want to like look at one election and look like this huge Trump glorifier, but I do think down the line you can find it everywhere.
Yeah, and
And I think most of it. I think it. All right, I'll say this. I think it might have seeped its way into the presidential pretty recently, but I think it's always been a problem in the state.
It could have been, but here's why I think the presidential one, there's a legitimate chance that there could have been funny business, is because I know how much the left hated Trump.
Oh yeah,
and I know how savvy they are, especially with the local voting machines in Democrat districts. So
yeah,
I'm just saying,
it's true.
and they don't have any. I mean, they wouldn't mind cutting a corner to get him out of there.
Yeah.
No, are you kidding me? I mean, we watched. I'm getting a little political.
Now the world's a lot less funny, and we got a guy.
A lot less funny. Yeah, Trump was funny, dude.
Yeah, we got a
I'm
guy.
glad Shane made that point on his show or on his special. Trump was funny as hell.
Now you look up politics. This is so funny. The other day I looked up, like, the first time in forever, it felt like, what is going on in this office right now? And the trending 6 articles were about a prime minister woman that was complaining that Joe Biden let out a long and loud fart at a news conference.
Yeah.
And she could not. It just like the main article was like, Prime Minister cannot stop talking about Joe Biden's loud and long fart.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this, and I stopped for a second and I looked at it, like I left myself and looked at it from an outside perspective. And I was like, this is what's going on in our, whether or not Trump or they're all clowns. I mean, it's going back to, but like they're all about to die too. Like,
yeah, that is interesting. They're all in the.
I don't know why that.
They're
became
probably in the last 15 years of their life.
Yeah, because I feel like
or meaningfully 15 years.
The
of
old like
meaningful
sketches
life.
and like pictures of Washington. He doesn't look that old. I
Right.
don't know when it became a thing where like you have to look like you could fall over at any moment.
Well,
I
think it's because we have career politicians now. I think back in the old times of like the colonial times, people had other lives and careers, and they postponed some of that adulthood to serve their country, and then they would going back to their normal life.
Yeah.
You know, after their term was over, it wasn't like I'm going to make a shit ton of money doing this. And
I mean, at this point, I would just like Kanye to be president. Honestly, I think he's funny.
I think Kanye would be funny.
Yeah, I think he'd probably say and do some wild shit.
Who would I actually want to be president? Norm Macdonald, rest in peace. I would pick Norm for president, 100%.
You know who would be? You know who might be a good president?
Who?
Matthew McConaughey. Maybe. He's got some talking still, but I
like Matthew McConaughey.
I like him, but I got a little fed up when he was on the press tour for that book he just wrote.
Green lights.
He was talking.
All right.
I mean, I know people when they do things, they go on as many shows as that. I've never seen someone do something that minute and then go on every living program known to man and just promote it.
So it turned you off because it was self-promoting so much?
A little bit, yeah. And that voice, when you hear enough of it, it almost becomes annoying.
Yeah. Yeah,
like,
you kind of need it in doses. Like, oh, there's Matthew McConaughey. He's up to something. He's got a new movie. I see it. And
I don't want to say I don't know which way. I'm assuming he leans a little right based off of interviews and stuff he's had. But I wasn't even saying he'd be good for that because I try and not. I just think, you need somebody who's a talker.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's a lovable dude.
Yeah.
Like, but I'd be interested to hear why you cringed at that idea.
Similar to you, I think overexposure from that Green Lights book. I think about the Lincoln commercials a lot.
Oh.
I drove a Lincoln long before anybody paid me to drive one. I drive one because it's, I don't know, whatever. Because I'm Matthew McConaughey. I do like him a lot, though. I think it's cool that he's had like such a, like he started out as like this romantic comedy kind of and kind of cringy movie roles, and then he's broadened into other stuff, and now he's writing books. I think that's great, man. Like he's doing all this stuff, but I don't know if he's president. I do think that's a good question, though.
Yeah,
I think a
I was
comedian.
trying to think of someone that's halfway interested in politics that would like be a realistic
What-
choice. But if we're just like ideally,
Yeah, I
like,
think you want to pick
fishing-
somebody who wouldn't want to, because George
Yeah.
Washington was considered one of
True.
the best. He didn't want to be it. They like made him.
I know. I know. It was weird. I said McConaughey because I would absolutely hate if anyone in Hollywood got the chance.
Yeah,
But he was one person who comes to mind who seems like he's got his head screwed on halfway, doesn't live in that bubble that everyone else does in Hollywood. And but yeah, I don't think it could be sports or movie. It had.
Oh, I know one. Adam Sandler.
Adam Sandler would be good.
I would
Yeah.
pick Adam Sandler for president.
Yeah, because he's like
I think he's kind, and I think he's a good person.
yeah, he's like the Louis mentality of like I'm gonna wear what I want in my profession,
Yeah.
and he
He
doesn't.
loves his wife.
Yeah, he wears gym shorts around everywhere. He
Wears
never
sh-
looks nice.
Yeah.
And not in a bad.
Yeah.
He to some people
He's
he
got
might
enough
look
money
nice,
to
yeah.
run. He's well known enough.
But
Adam
yeah, that
Sandler for
careless
president. Let's get it
mentality.
going. I would-
Careless.
And he loves his friends.
Yeah.
You saw that special he did, right? 100% Fresh on
Yeah.
Netflix. He shout out to Chris Farley. I wonder if he's going to do anything for Norm. Because he and Norm were, I don't know how
Yeah, they
tight
were
they were. I
close.
think they were pretty close.
Yeah.
So yeah, Adam Sandler.
Norm.
Yeah. You think of any other ones?
I think that's all I can think of, honestly. Not on the spot. No, I can't.
Yeah. I wouldn't want any religious leaders.
Because my head goes to the actors, and because that's the world I knew
Uh-huh.
growing it, and I don't like us. I don't want to choose from them because
Oh.
it's so corrupt.
Well, the problem is anybody good wouldn't run willingly.
Yeah,
A lot of people say Joe Rogan. I don't think so.
I think it's dangerous to have anyone in an art form in an office, because the artists are so cerebral. Like,
Yeah.
they use I think it's the left side of their brain a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and that doesn't necessarily like lead to the most logical best choices.
Yeah. Could be. Are you going to hold the mic?
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good.
I think the best thing is that whoever in office needs to be kind of boring,
Yeah.
because it keeps me apolitical for one thing. God forbid I ever get back even an inch into politics.
Yeah. I don't think anybody would be boring because, unfortunately, I think the media vultures would make. If it was a boring guy, they'd like pick out stuff that he did. They'd like
Yeah.
nitpick stuff. They're like, look at this tie. Like, look at that shade of red. This guy's a
Yeah.
communist or something. Like they'd make something like, if you're a Republican, they'd make you a Nazi. If you're a Democrat, they make you a communist. It doesn't matter. Like Barack Obama. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
they went after him for so
Be
many
funny.
so many unfair things.
Yeah.
Like his birth certificate and like all this shit. Like, oh my gosh, I remember. Do you remember back in when John McCain was running against him? And there was a woman who was like asking John McCain about Barack Obama, and she's like, "I can't vote for him because he's an Arab." And McCain was like, "No, ma'am, he's a good man."
Yeah.
And that was good for McCain because
No, he did do some pretty upstanding. I'll agree with a lot of people. He wasn't the best candidate for that side, it seemed like, but he was nice. He was a
McCain?
nice person. Yeah.
yeah. I thought he was kind of a loser because he got captured.
Yeah.
I'm
That's-
just kidding. That
yeah.
was what Trump said.
All
He
I-
said, "Don't you respect his
all I
war record?"
remember
And Trump's like,
about him-
"He got captured. I like people who didn't get captured."
I remember about him as just the
Such a ridiculous
It was
comment.
called trickle down or something.
Who said trickle down economic?
Trickle down. Well, I think it was him.
Reagan said that.
Yeah, and then I think he followed with his spin on that.
Oh, McCain did.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah,
It'd be funny if you were
It's
like, who
usually a
else do you
right-wing.
think should be a good president? And I'd be like, John Wayne Gacy. And you're like, okay, we're going to end the podcast now. We've got a lunatic on this. So, how about Ted Bundy? What about that?
Yeah.
But no, I honestly, I think that it's so silly at this point. I don't think it matters who's president.
yeah,
It's going to, the puppets are going to pull at the string. It's a little
Yeah.
bit Illuminati there, or a little bit conspiracy there. But I think that
There's
the
only so
president-
much the president can do.
Yeah. It's funny that we just sit and blame one guy for whatever's going on.
Yeah.
It's just, it's.
You need to have a villain or a hero. So we just make one out of the guy in that office. But I don't know. I do really love America, though. It's a pretty cool spot to be. Like, all our dysfunction aside, I think it's a pretty damn cool country. Like everybody, I don't know. Have you ever been abroad? Have you ever been to like Europe or?
That's the good thing about cruises. Yeah.
Yeah.
Take you out those places.
Duh.
It's
yeah.
like a make believe trip though, because they'll take you to the safest spots. Of every
Right.
country.
So you don't get like in with like the real people that live
you don't
there.
feel what everyone else feels that live, but it's
Right.
probably for the best in some of these places.
But what's your impression of like how other people look at us, like foreign people that live in foreign countries, like people in Europe? Do you think they like roll their eyes at us and think America's just a basket case?
You know what? I think the average everyday person that like they're just a citizen, like we would have here, someone that's not in power over there. I think that they don't think much. I don't think they have much time to think. I think we're a good source for money for them. Like it's like I'm thinking cruises here, but like we employ a lot of the people that live there and get them to kind of draw a line of like we can't go beyond here because it gets a little messy in this country here. And I think once you get into the actual country, who knows? Because I feel like I've never met anyone that's not safe to be around, fortunately.
Right.
You get off these cruise ships though, and
what countries are you talking about?
I
are these
got
like
off a
Caribbean
Bahamas
countries?
ship, and
Okay.
you got to be careful in the Bahamas sometimes because right when you get off, people they want to sell you stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And like that, I remember a guy walked up to me. He's like, "Yo, man, I got some socky and some fucky. If you know what I mean."
Yeah.
And I was like, "I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I hear you,
Right.
but I'm good. So, and then they'll have these like pops suckers that claim to be weed. God knows what's in them.
Right.
You got that side of it.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was more talking about like the broader context of like how
they
like
view,
citizens, and different parts of the world look at us. Like I'm sure we look like with Donald Trump and Hillary and with all this crazy shit going on and all of our riots and all our stuff.
What?
We probably look like a basket case, but we still are pretty freaking dominant
I'll
globally.
say this. As an outsider, they probably do not like us very much because they only have what the media shows them.
Right.
And that's where we're biting ourselves in the ass right now with all this and not appreciating what we have as much as we should.
Yeah.
Because it's sending a bad message to the rest of the world of like, that is not what goes on here.
Right.
They wanted to constantly
at a
there's all
local
this
level
division in this country. They want to divide us, and there's like that. And I don't.
At a local
care.
level, things are pretty chill. A lot of the dysfunction is pretty. It's like theater.
Teleport one of those people here right now, and they will be like, "This is what the upstairs is complaining about all the time."
Yeah.
Like Jesus, y'all have it great. Like,
yeah, it's like we have it too good.
Yeah,
it's like once you have like enough wealth. Which is ironic because we're 30 trillion in debt right now. We do have a lot of problems financially.
Yeah.
But
that's all.
But in terms of like how wealthy we are, like how nice everything is, compared to like a Haiti or like a third world country, dude, we got it going on. So, it's one of my new jokes I'm working on about the rich people. Like in the olden days, like the poorest among us today, like living in a trailer park, have it better off than the King of England 500 years ago. And people don't think about that all the time or appreciate how far we've come as a modern capitalist society.
Exactly.
So, a lot of this is all fake. But anyway, who's your favorite comic?
All right. Oh man, that's a tricky one.
Bargatze?
Maybe I think I would like Bargatze as a person the most. Probably. But, or maybe that's wrong too. I see comic wise, I float around because I get in like I almost like I will with music.
Yeah. Who are you in a phase right now of?
Right now I really like Shane Gillis.
Dude.
He's an easy answer.
Me too, dude.
And
He's so funny.
him and Tim Dillon probably right now.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if I've seen Tim Dillon's old comedy and it's not that funny, but him on the podcast is so funny that like I have this, and I've heard his new hour is crushing right now. I have this like faith that I'm just going to love him live, and I'm going to go see him. And
if you like him going into the show, it's a great start, you know, because you can likability in the room is half the thing.
I wasn't crazy about Bert going in, about
Bert Kreischer?
all his specials he was released.
Bert Kreischer?
Yeah, Bert Kreischer. I was like, he's funny on the Two Bears, One Cave. He's hilarious on there. Because he's such an oddball, so indifferent.
Yeah.
Just like weird dude. But like it's the specials, I just don't think they hit the mark. And then I go see him live. And like live, he was so entertaining. So
really
funny. Yeah.
I had a different experience.
Yeah.
I saw Bert once live, but I didn't have any prior knowledge or context. I just knew he was a big comic at Comedy Zone. And I didn't really enjoy it.
Yeah.
But everybody in the room was enjoying it. So it was like they knew him more and the stories hit better for them.
That's tricky because with Bert, he's a weird kind of comic. Not weird, but like a unique kind where it's like he's an encore comic. Mm-hmm. So like they expect him to tell the machine story. A lot of these people that go to his shows, do the machine
story,
yeah. And I will admit, by that point, when it's like there's 15 minutes left and he starts the story, I go like that a little bit. I'm just like, I know he has to do it, but I would almost rather give me more material that he's working out or whatever.
Sure.
But he's that kind of comic where he's gotta. If he doesn't do it, like there's almost like people with pitchforks that will come after him.
And that might be the difference between you watching it as a person, as a comic, versus just a normal audience member who's like, oh, I love him for this. Like it's like play the hits, you know?
Yeah. I'm not susceptible to the especially in comedy, the fanboy hype of comics. I'm not susceptible to it. But that being said, that's what made it even more impressive that Bert actually did kind of impress, blow me away with this new hour. And hopefully he keeps it the same. I know he drinks a lot, so it could change in the midst of all. But
did you hear the Shane Gillis? Did I tell you the Shane Gillis joke about Barack Obama?
No.
How we got? It's so offensive. I don't know if I should. I can tell it. I don't care.
Yeah.
So Shane Gillis said, I did say this.
Yeah.
He said, you know how Barack Obama got his name? The doctor who delivered him was an Asian man. And he said, oh, look, it's a Barack baby.
Oh, that's good.
I love accents.
I know.
It sucks that nowadays
you can't do it as much.
No.
Yeah. Well, that's where I say this and I stand by it. We can. There's a level where you can't. It's funny. We're starting out as comics,
we can
so
do it.
How are you going to cancel me?
Right. You can.
I live in a 2-bedroom apartment with popcorn walls and ceilings.
Right.
I
guess
I'm already canceled enough right now.
I mean, your employer could watch this and fire you, I guess.
Yeah, it's funny.
That's like what you could get canceled for, but
I guess, yeah. But
I feel like with anybody's job, like if you're doing a good job at work, like hopefully they're not looking for reasons to like come after you.
It's I'll tell you when it's dangerous. It's dangerous when you get that first tease of fame. I guess you could call it money making. Like Shane was going to get with
That's
SNL.
exactly. Yeah.
And then it gets dangerous because then people want to investigate you and all that kind of stuff. But even that was just like a weird scenario because that was bleeding into acting in the Hollywood world. And they're a lot more like, you can't say that. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Comedy's a lot more like trying to get back to its old roots of like, let's not cancel. That's not fun. That's not funny. There's nothing funny about cancel.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Shane is huge for comedy right now.
Yeah.
And I think
did you listen to Ari Shaffir's Skeptic Tank with Shane, Mark, and
I did. Yeah.
I
It's
thought that
funny
was so
that-
funny when Shane was like on his phone and he's like, "We're doing a podcast." Like, I don't want to do a freaking podcast.
I know, that was so real. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, "I do a podcast every second of my life. Like, I just wanted to ride in the car."
Yeah.
And Ari's like, "Shut up! I'm gonna pay you." Like,
He spawned it on him. Like, that's according to Shane.
yeah.
And what was funny is it seemed like me and my two friends were just riding to like Disney World or something.
Uh-huh.
You know,
yeah,
just a normal bros. It didn't seem like they had a platform
yeah,
or anything like that. It seemed real the whole time, and you could see it on Shane's face. He was not happy to be the direction giver for majority of the time
mm-hmm.
on a podcast, and at any moment they could crash the car, and all of them would be liable.
right,
They couldn't. He said it at one point. You can't say this is negligence when there's
yeah,
recording equipment in our car right
yeah.
now.
Dude, he has to have done.
That
a
was so dangerous for them
It
to do that.
was.
But Ari,
I've seen him do it before. I think he's done one with Mark Norman before, just
Yeah.
him and Mark in the car. And he has like those like phone holders. He's just got multiple iPhones recording the video,
Yeah.
and they edit it together post, I think. And
I
yeah.
think Mark loves it. I think Mark likes podcasts.
Mark is a podcast whore, 100%.
I think,
dude.
I think I'm in Camp Mark because I think it passes the time in a car ride better than just sitting there.
Oh yeah, probably.
I can't sleep and shit like that.
Yeah, but if you know you're being recorded, it's a little different. But yeah, I freaking Shane, dude.
What a dude.
Yeah. Dude, he has been on so many podcasts. He has to, because he did that. He was doing Philly podcasts in Philly. Like, that's what he got in trouble for in SNL. Like, Matt and Shane's secret podcast. I think you told me about it, didn't you? How many episodes of that has he done?
A lot. You know, there's like a whole library of stuff that even though they're uncancelled, they feel like they represent the minority or maybe majority at this point of people that, you know, don't celebrate cancel culture.
Mm-hmm.
They do have a log of like a library of early episodes that you can only find on YouTube. They don't have them up on Spotify anymore because I guess they used to be a
They're
little
too
more
offensive.
reckless. Yeah.
I kind of want to get more reckless on this. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel
I was
like if
planning
it's a
on-
little bit PC, like,
I was planning on doing that today, and then you
Yeah?
come in and you just like the course changes.
wait, you're planning to be more reckless?
I was gonna come in and just play the character. I was gonna play a character sort of
Yeah.
somebody who's like feels like he made it because he got on his first podcast. I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna call my agent after this, and like we'll negotiate
An
salary.
agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've made it, dude. Like
I'm
first podcast.
You're not getting paid for this.
No, I made it. I made it. They don't have to know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I made it. I'm doing big
You have
things.
to. This podcast is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. It's I'm always shocked when people ask to be on it. Like, a couple people was like, "Dude, can I be?" I was like, "You want to?"
Yeah.
Like, I always feel weird.
Guilty.
But, yeah. Wait, did you ask?
Yeah.
No, I wanted you
I
to
might
be-
have initiated.
I wanted you to be on it for
Yeah.
sure. For sure. How much time do you need to prep for your set tonight?
I already have it down. I lost my tripod pretty recently, so I didn't come with it last week.
Could use mine.
So I came with the tripod this time, ready to record basically what I put out last week,
Uh-huh.
because I need this new 5 for booking and stuff.
Okay.
I'm not that I think it's the best thing in the world, but it's the one time where I felt like maybe I should have this and start sending it around.
All right, so you're basically recording your 5-minute special tonight at Comedy Zone. It's gonna be lit, bro.
Yeah. Last week went so well. I mean, how could I not? I just felt like I had one of the better sets I've ever
Yeah.
had. So I
Hopefully you don't
need
fucking.
to trust the material and
Hopefully you don't eat it tonight.
yeah. I know.
I'm just kidding.
Hopefully it doesn't pour rain, because if it pours
Yeah,
rain,
we may
there's
be
no chance
in
we're gonna
for-
have any crowd.
We
there.
may be in for a comics only night, depending on. I can't even tell if it's raining outside still.
I
But
think it says it was going to hold off till after showtime. So if
yeah,
anything, they'll be trapped in there with us,
yeah.
and no one will want to leave.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be the best night. of
Yeah,
comedy.
could be good. Yeah, dude. I don't know what I'm gonna do tonight. I was planning my set and recording myself in the living room when you called to come up here. So I was like, God
Oh god,
damn it, Alex! Like, I don't even know how long my set's. I think I was at 2.5 minutes when you called, and I was like, "Crap, how is this going to time out?"
Just milk it.
Just milk it. Just riff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. It should be fun tonight. It'll be good.
I'm excited.
Well, yeah, we got 45 minutes till the mic starts. So, did you already tell your biggest dumpster fire story? Was that in the back of the cop car?
My biggest
That was
dumpster
rock
fire-
bottom, I think.
I was rock bottom, and I'll tell you, I thought that story was gonna go a lot better than when I say it out loud. But
It kind of went flat. I was like,
no. Not that I think it's not that I thought. I just thought it was a lot more interesting than it really. It's not interesting. I have a story. It's fairly short that I always wanted to make a bit about. Is sort of like semi my first mushroom trip.
Okay.
Basically, you know the band Fish.
Yeah.
They're like the Grateful Dead, sort of, but like really hippie. So I'm in Miami, at this Miami Heat Stadium.
How old?
About 21, 22.
Okay.
We drive down there, me and my buddy, because we were sick of delivering pizza and we wanted to try vending waters. Is a wild concept, but we were like, let's
Dude.
go sell water bottles outside the Fish concert. And at some point we're going to score tickets just from being it there.
Okay.
And so a short, condensed version of the story is basically the water thing worked out, but we got burned out on it pretty quick because you got to wagon around waters through the city.
Yeah.
And then sell them twice. And then we also found out the rumor was that the market there was pissed that we were undercutting them. We were selling them for $1. We didn't know that everyone else was doing too. So of course we were getting all the traffic.
That's capitalism, bro.
Yeah, we were.
That's free markets. That's good you're doing that.
But
Screw the law.
We probably had some death threats because this is Miami. This is lawless
Oh, yeah.
territory.
Yeah, a lot of Cubans.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
a lot of danger.
Cubans are great, actually.
Yeah, Cuban
Nah,
sandwiches. Oh boy,
Cuban sandwiches are great.
Yeah.
The Cubans are very proud people. They hate government
yeah.
because they hate Castro.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So basically, we get to the point where we need to go to this concert, and about the time we're thinking that, a guy says, "Who's never been to a Fish concert?" Just screams it out, and I'm like, "I haven't." And then he's like, "Well, I've got 2 tickets. Here you go." And it's just me and my buddy are just now going.
So it worked out exactly like you
to
thought.
the Fish concert.
Yeah.
Then we go back to our campsite. We're camping in like this campgrounds pretty close to the Miami Heat Stadium, and got our tent set up and everything. And there's people that follow the Grateful Dead around everywhere right by us, and they're leaving. They sell towels all day. I remember I bought a Mary Jane towel from them, and they're about to leave. They just stayed for like one day. There was like a 3-day show because Fish is huge.
Yeah.
And they were like, "We're leaving as our parting gift. We're going to give you this towel." Says the Mary Jane towel, and folded up in it was a bag of mushrooms, and they had already left. And we were like, "This is the greatest day."
Had you ever taken mushrooms?
And they were
before?
really cool, so it wasn't like they had left and we were like, "We don't trust these." I had done them enough to know what
to look for.
Yeah, and so me and my buddy split them. We probably took like an 1/8 apiece. And one thing to preface this that you need to know about how lawless Miami can get: the cops are not there to arrest people.
Yeah.
The cops are there to make sure you don't die.
Right.
There's literally people doing those whip it canisters in the streets.
And
which
nobody's
is
getting busted
nitrous
for it.
gas, I believe, and you just like huff it in, and it gives you a 30-second useless high.
Right.
But they're just making sure those people don't die, and they're everywhere. I mean, everywhere you go, you're like that sound is everywhere, and it's just wild. I'm walking the stadium, and everyone's already like conked out on whippets, like huffing balloons and stuff, and so we feel like we're doing good just being on a normal person drug, going in, and they're already kicking in, and my buddy gets up to the gate. I get in just fine. My buddy gets stopped by the security, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to have to trip and endure this all on my own.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, he gets in. I'm like, what the hell was going on out there? He's like, well, they stopped me because I had a knife on me. And like the blade was longer than the legal,
right,
whatever. And I was like, you brought a knife into a hippie concert?
Right.
What
yeah.
were you
Not
thinking?
a good idea.
And he was like, no, it's cool. They just made me drop it in the knife bush. I was like, the
Oh my
knife bush?
God.
He's like, yeah, there's like this designated weapon bush like outside the stadium. You just like drop it over the railing and then you hope it's there later, like after the show. He's like, I saw some nunchucks in there.
Oh my
I saw
gosh.
like, it's like I saw all this wild. I was like,
Uh-huh.
yeah. And he's like, I was like, cool. So like we go in and I'm like we're just like ripped at this point, like just high. I'm loving the colors, all the lights. There's like a whole light show going on. My buddy gets sick, so he's like, I'm gonna go wait this out in the car. Like halfway through, he tries to leave, but he falls down a whole flight of stairs when he leaves. And it's funny the difference between normal people watching that happen and a whole stadium of people that are either tripping acid or mushrooms.
Like nobody cared.
Everybody's like, whoa, man, you all right, dude?
Yeah.
Everyone's just all of a sudden got a heart.
Yeah.
Whereas if
Yeah.
that happens at like the Miami Heat Stadium, everyone's got their phones out like,
Yeah.
world star.
Sounds like a
Like
Travis Scott
it's like a
concert.
huge, yeah. Oh,
Like
yeah.
those
yeah,
just got
yeah.
trampled. Oh
Yeah.
my God, that's awful.
Hey, man, it must be nice to have people die for you. That's all I'll say
Travis
about that.
Scott.
That's pretty.
Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, it must be nice. I
Yeah.
mean,
Okay, so your buddy falls down the stairs.
yeah. He leaves, so it's just me, and I got a buddy by me named Dee.
Uh-huh.
I just met the guy,
Uh-huh.
and Dee passing around a joint. God knows what's in it. Might have been the first night I ever smoked PCP or something. Because
Oh my
who knows?
gosh.
I was tripping so hard, I didn't know what I was. And long story short, the concert ends. And you realize that it's very dumb, even though we're all doing it. One thing I did notice about everyone's tripping acid. And at Fish concert, everyone seems to be dancing in sync. Like they're all flopping around like a bunch of fish.
Right.
And it just I was looking around and that's the only time I genuinely got freaked out. I was like, this seems mechanical. Like everyone's like squirming like fish. It's like weird to look around. But anyways, it ends and you realize this is a bad idea to go on a 6 to 12 hour trip for a 2-hour concert.
Right.
Now what are we going to do? Wander around the city?
Yeah.
So the concert ends, the lights come up, there's smoke everywhere. It's lawless there. I mean, everyone's smoking blunts, joints, it's just wild. Like it's unlike anything you'd ever see. And some voice comes over the intercom and he's like, the voice has to tell people to leave. Because it's just like, we're all just sitting there like sitting ducks.
It's just a bunch of
no one knows what to do. We don't know. We don't know what we're tripping so hard.
Out people.
We don't know the concept of leaving.
Right.
We're just sitting in it. And he's just like, everyone needs to exit out the, and I remember Dee, I'll never forget this. The guy Dee by me was like, is that God? I was like, yeah, God's talking to us.
Dude,
right
this
now.
reminds me of that South Park episode when the hippies invade South Park and like they won't disperse. They're just like vibing, like, woo, we're making a difference. It's
very
changing the
much like
world
that.
with rock and roll. And then Carmen's like, God damn hippies. And the only way they can get them to disperse is by playing heavy metal music. And they're like, oh, this is totally harsh
I
and
remember
mellow.
that episode.
Yeah. Freaking hippies, bro. And you were one of them.
Yeah. So we walked out. I'm trying to leave, but I cannot find the exit to save my life. And I kid you not, there's probably 12 of them around this. It's like a circular dome.
Yeah.
I'm walking in circles, screaming out, can anybody find the exit? I can't find the exit. It's comical now to think about, but I genuinely couldn't find it. And meanwhile, there's exits everywhere. So I find a group of people that have the same purpose as me. They're like, we can't find the exit. I was like, no way, me neither. Let's join together, and maybe together we can find this exit.
This gives me anxiety.
We finally did, and we did out. It's like this maze, and then I get out into the real world, and there's cops everywhere. There's people almost dead of whippets. And it's just like the rude awakening. And I run over to my car. I'm like, we have got to go, Cody. We're both tripping hard, but like both of us agree we need to just get back to the campsite. So he's driving, and I'll never forget. We stop at this gas station, and he gets out. And I'm like, are you not getting gas? And he was like, no. I was like, what did you just stop at this gas station for? He's like, I just got out to just make sure we still had tires on my car.
Oh my
He's like,
god.
does this not feel like a hovercraft? And I was like, it kind of does.
Oh my gosh,
like,
dude.
We
You're
were
lucky you
tripping
didn't
so hard
die.
it felt like we were in a hovercraft, like on the way back.
Oh my gosh.
And so anyway, that's basically the gist of it. That's like the wildest thing that's ever happened to me. Like it was probably.
And you survived. Thank
Yeah.
God. Yeah. Psychedelics, dude.
Yeah.
You think about those times in college or like, when you're in your early 20s when you just have like random ass adventures when you're drunk or something. Oh God, it's a miracle. I feel like I didn't die.
Yeah. You want to?
It's so weird. Like when you're that young, you feel like you're invincible and like nothing could go wrong. Like, but it so could have.
Yeah. What's funny is I love that story because it's a wild thing that happened or whatever. And when I tell it, when I was growing up and when I was still on the high off of it,
Mm-hmm.
I would tell it to my friends and they would laugh so hard and they would always tell me to retell it.
Uh-huh.
And like, cause there's just so many components to it and what all, and then you get not burned out on it, but you get so far removed from stories like that and like times you remember what happens, but your excitement and the way you love to tell it like fades.
Yeah.
So I'm ashamed to say I've tried that on stage.
You have?
Yeah. At McCracken's.
Okay.
And
how'd it go?
It's the most foolish I've ever felt in my life. It didn't go well. And then I remember getting off and I was told the stories are hard for one thing.
Yeah.
You got to get to a good point where you're good. But I remember I was so all over the place with the story. I was nervous with stage fright.
Yeah.
I was trying a new thing, which is a story. And then I also was just like, in my own head about it the whole time. I was missing, pieces of it. I remember getting off, and then the host made it worse because he was like, all right, there goes Alex with his story about being at a Fish and a Grateful Dead concert all in one. I've never met somebody who could do it, but somehow Alex went to a Fish and a Grateful Dead concert. He got me I'm like, did I
that's like did
I mess this? I was like, I must.
It's like a double whammy. It's like it was
already
a
not
dumpster
funny.
fire story, and then I'm telling it on
I will
stage.
say the one redeeming quality about it is I did get to the point in comedy where instead of pushing ahead without ever acknowledging the bomb, I've grown better enough to be like, in the midst of it, like groan and be like, and now I like basically let the
acknowledging
audience
a joke not
know
working.
that I know this is going.
Yeah, that it's
forward.
not ruining your.
Yeah. And there's ways to do that, and it becomes the joke, being self-deprecating.
Yeah, for sure.
This isn't going well. Stuff
Yeah,
like
for sure.
Little comments.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
for sure. I like to do that too.
But, yeah. So story are a no-go. Stories are no-go.
Yeah,
comedy.
I'm not good good enough to do like long form stories.
Maybe a couple years in.
Yeah, yeah.
That might be where I want to end up because those seem fun.
Doing
And
stories.
they take up a lot of time.
Yeah, filling
So,
time. It's always. And speaking of time,
Yeah.
we're almost at 7:30. I still have to
Yeah.
write my damn Zet.
Let's wrap this thing up.
All right, dude. We can't. What before we go? Where can people? I'll put all this on the episode and stuff. But where can people follow you and all your social media stuff?
All right. It's Instagram at Alex Turner Presents. That's probably the main social media I use. Facebook would just be Alex Turner. There's not many of us in the world, so good luck with that. It's probably a pretty easy venture. And I'm currently in development of a comedy YouTube. So I know I'm kind of behind with that, but I'm trying to get just comedy.
Do you have a channel yet?
Yes. Let's see. I have one, but I'm trying to condense it to just comedy.
I can put it on the link too if you don't have it right there.
I don't have it up and ready, and I don't want to butcher time.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Well, dude, thanks for coming, bro. It's awesome. Appreciate having you're our first Atlanta Comic on since unless you count Matt Addy. But yeah, man. Kill it tonight.
Oh,
and Alex is hilarious. Catch him anytime in Atlanta, especially.
Don't let my appearance on this podcast fool you. I am.
Dude,
I'm a hoot. I'm a real hoot.
He's a real hoot. This Alex Turner.
Yeah, using words like hoot.
All right. Thanks so much, guys, and thanks, Alex. Dude. We'll
it's
see
fun,
you next
man.
time.